Sirius 206, XM 103. This is OP Radio.
Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up! Up you wake, up you wake, up you wake, up you wake! This is Mr. Senior Love Daddy, your voice of choice, the world's only 12-hour strong man on the air, and that's the truth.
Welcome to Bennington.
I don't know where I'm going from here, but I promise I won't bore you.
I want you to take your hand out of that bowl of Fritos, throw away your National Enquirer, and pick up the phone. Go ahead, pick it up. Talk radio. It's the last neighborhood in town. People just don't talk to each other anymore.
You would be very lucky if in your whole life you saw the work of one genius.
The form of the tragic autobiography is dead. Goodbye, written word. So I have chosen this form, radio, to author my life.
Hashtag Bennington.
This is Mr. Senior Love Daddy doing the nasty to your ears to the nasty. Eyes only play the platters that matter, the matters they platter. And that's the truth.
Some velvet morning when I'm straight, I'm gonna open up your gate and maybe tell you about Phaedra and how she gave me life and how she made it in some velvet morning when I'm straight.
Flowers growing on a hill, dragonflies and daffodils learn from us very much. Look at us, but do not touch. Phaedra is my name.
Some velvet morning when I'm straight, I'm gonna open up your gate and maybe tell you about Phaedra and how she gave me life and how she made it in some velvet morning when I'm straight.
Flowers are the things we know. Secrets are the things we grow. Learn from us very much. Look at us, but do not touch. Phaedra is my name.
Some velvet morning when I'm straight,
Flowers growing on a hill,
I'm gonna open up your gate
dragonflies and daffodils
and maybe tell you about Phaedra
learn from us very much.
and how she gave me life
Look at us, but do not touch.
and how she made it in.
Phaedra is my
That is the house band today for us. It's Nancy Sinatra and Lee Greenwood again. It is Bennington. I am Ron Bennington. With me, as always, is Gail Bennington, no relation. And today's program is being done in 14-degree weather.
That's Lee Hazelwood.
What did I call him?
Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood is an old Steeler. And I say that over and over.
I would like to have him on as the house band, too.
All right, let me just say this. Today's show is a nightmare.
It's totally ruined now.
Well, I don't have, I forgot my telephone. And this reminds me when I was out diving off the Great Barrier Reef and was the only person without an air tank.
That's not good.
And had to say to other people, can I use some of your air? Let me breathe in some of your air.
This is the second Bennington that you're doing without a phone.
I'm not good in the morning. I didn't get myself all together because I'm used to having quite a few hours before I start a show. Mm-hmm. So as I was sitting on the couch this morning watching Modern Family reruns, I said, what do you mean already go in?
It is pretty early.
It's way early. And I'm going to tell you something else. Not the best week for me. Something's haunting me. I probably shouldn't even get into it in public, but are you familiar with a comedian by the name of Joe List?
I am.
He's a very, very funny man, incredibly sweet person, but he made a statement offhandedly this week that has been haunting me.
What is it?
He said David Bowie's overrated. So,
God.
A couple of nights tossing and turning.
Oh, boy.
And I've decided I'm going to give it some time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I won't be talking to him or seeing him. But sometime probably within the next few months, I'm going to kill him with a stick. And then... and no one will suspect me because they're not going to think, oh, wasn't it 3 or 4 months ago he said Bowie was overrated? Who would that piss off?
This is like a real life PC&D that you're experiencing with Joe List, and you need to find out. What does this mean to you?
What explain the PC&D.
PC&D was the game we were playing.
Oh, yeah.
Pro, con,
Yeah.
neutral, deal breaker. What is this?
PC&D. 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 No, that's a deal breaker. Not only a deal breaker, it's a Joe List breaker. So just forget that I ever even brought this up. But later, I'll kill him with a stick. But the way he just says it so offhandedly, and he goes like that, David Bowie, speaking of overrated.
Oh,
no.
I
don't think we were speaking of being overrated. I think that he had that bullet in the chamber for quite some time.
So for you, it's PCNDM.
Yeah,
the last for murder.
Miter. Let's just say this. Somebody's been jinxed. Is no one watching that show? You turned me on to it.
I don't know. I feel like people should be talking about it.
You know why? It's not on your iPod that you can listen to.
Yeah,
like that.
It's like the Serial was huge. Everyone was talking about Serial.
Guess who didn't listen to Serial?
You.
Me.
I listened to it.
Did you love it?
It's going to be unpopular, but no.
It's overrated, Joe List. How do you like that? Doesn't feel
Speaking
so good.
Of overrated. Serial.
You know,
I enjoyed the beginning of it. Like, I was very excited to start the case. I was very excited to figure things out. And then a couple episodes in, I was like, yeah, I wonder where this is going. And someone said, yeah, she doesn't even know. They're doing this every week. And I was like, there's no plan. We're not going to get any answers.
We need a plan
This
here.
is going to just fizzle out, and we're not gonna have any closure. Nothing else will be revealed. It's interesting once you lay out the initial information.
Yeah.
But we didn't get much farther than that. We are just as confused by like episode 2 or 3 than like the way you are at the end.
So they couldn't even figure out the murder in Serial.
No, and I guess the most definitive thing is she says how she would have come up with a verdict, like if she was on the jury. So she was basically saying, like, I can't tell you for certain if he did or did not kill her, but I don't think that there's enough evidence here to convict. Which I'm not saying is not interesting, but it was like a lot of buildup for just like You know what I mean? Like not a very big
Sure,
payoff.
could somebody else do this show that can solve the crime?
Exactly. But I guess it did open a lot of things up. I think that they're re-looking at that case now, so perhaps.
Well, the one on HBO right now is so solved, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how tough it is to get convictions against somebody with money.
Yes.
Because it's like if Jeffrey Gurion was a serial killer, and then I had the bone saw, and I sawed off the arms, I sawed off the legs. First I sold off, and then I couldn't get the head off, you know. But that's what, a misdemeanor?
And then the jury's just like, I kind of like this guy. I don't know what it is.
Look into my dead eyes and let me once again explain. I was raised with money, so I kill what I want to, but mainly just my friends and loved ones. Jesus, this guy.
It's really scary. But I think that because you know that he did it, there's no way that you're confused about that. The pressure's off, and then now you're just enjoying a very weird story and delving into deeper into his character.
But you actually end up feeling sorry. Did he have the wrong mics turned on? Is that what happened?
No, it's just getting interference from both of them.
But why, unless the mic was turned on?
Was it turned on, Eric?
No, she just was sounding very hollow as soon as we moved.
You can't get.
Hey, that's mean.
Yeah. This is what she sounded like. Hi, everyone. You sounded like Lana Del Rey, is what happened.
So mean.
That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
You're hollow.
That's a good comeback.
Speaking of hollow,
Yeah.
you are hollow.
Oh, somebody else hollow.
Got it. Who's that?
Joe List. That craziness that he says. And don't go tweeting to him, warning him about the murder, alleged murder at this point. I have to get a bone saw.
I think a jury would love you.
I think.
I see you walk in.
Yeah, I walk in late without a phone. And then I would be just saying to the people in the jury, look, I have this other thing on my mind right now, so I'd like to talk to you about it. It's Joe List. First of all, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I give you the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Exhibit A.
If It Ain't Easy was taking off that album, it would be absolutely the perfect album.
That's your least favorite from the album?
I would say it's the human race's least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even written by Mr. Bowie. That's what we call him in England.
London, England.
London, England. Max in the Philippines wants to. Oh, I'm sorry, Philadelphia.
Oh, that's different.
Wants to talk about Jinx. First of all, Max, welcome to the show. Welcome to Bennington.
Ronnie B, you sound like $1 million, and so does Gail. It's an absolute honor to talk to you guys.
Thanks.
I wanted to call in the other day
Drop
about
it.
Jinx. It's captivated me. It's the most batshit thing I've ever seen. He had it dead on with his dead eyes, his black little eyes, and I can't stop watching him. He's fucking crazy.
You know, here it is. This is almost like the perfect New York thing, because you meet people in coffee shops in New York that you're like, oh, look at this semi-homeless person, and they're like, and I used to be the photographer for the Beatles, and you're like, what? When did that? When did you get so interesting in the last 2 seconds? But there is something. He's like dark energy. He's like a black hole, and he brings all the light to him, and then kills it.
And he really does have black, lifeless eyes.
Yeah. Now
Black
here's what
eyes,
annoys
like a
me.
doll's eyes.
Black eyes like a doll's eyes. Here's what annoys me too. I had seen the movie late at night, the Ryan Gosling movie, years ago, and they used the same house that he lived in the movie. So I'm like, I know this house. I go, this is the Ryan Gosling movie. So when you told me, I'm like texting you, I saw the Ryan Gosling movie, and then a couple, 15 minutes later, they're going, Ryan Gosling made a movie. And I'm like, oh, no, I look like an idiot. First the Joe List thing, and now this. So, but don't you agree, Max? Like, if you have money, the world is yours to go batshit crazy. And I mean an incredible amount of money. I don't mean rich like your cousin, has money. I mean so much money that if someone says $250,000 bail, you have that money in your pocket.
Yeah.
If if you're born into it, yeah. Like self-made people don't tend to go batshit crazy. But it's that
Donald Trump.
Like I don't,
he was born into
I don't think I've met a self-made person that acts like that.
No, you're right. There's a lot.
Often in that world.
It's a really good point because here's how it goes. If somebody makes, and I'm talking about billions and billions of dollars, they're a hardworking, probably obsessed person, right? Their kids are depressed because they don't know how to run $1 billion company. And then their grandkids shoot coke and heroin into their eyes while they're having sex with dead dogs. You know what I mean? That third generation is completely off the rails.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
You can't be normal. You can't be a normal. I don't think you can have a normal childhood.
And be that
raised
filthy
within,
rich.
Yeah, within the bubble of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's like a protective layer around you at all times. And yeah, I think there's also probably a lack of self-confidence.
Yeah, but you feel bad for the guy too. I mean, his mum killed herself when she was, when he was 7 years old.
But here's the thing. I know people whose parents committed suicide, and they don't go around chopping up their friends. Like, you can always go backwards and find out, but you're responsible for your pain.
It's very true. And I don't think that there's anyone that has committed a horrific crime that you couldn't go back into their childhood and pinpoint, okay, this is a terrible thing that happened to them.
Right. They
were abused as a child.
Yeah.
They witnessed something horrible, like whatever.
Yeah.
They were abandoned. There are tons of people who walk through this world who carry the same weight, and they're amazing human beings. Or just regular human beings.
Yeah, they're able to pull it off. But see, the thing is no matter how much pain is dealt to you, you then can't just go spreading it around. You have to find a way of dealing. That's a bad set of cards that you got. But you can't be sitting up there going, "Well, the reason why I was chopping up my friends is my uncle used to play incest tag with me." You know what I mean? You can't. That's not, like we'll all go, but then you got a bone saw and you started sawing up your friends with it. So I can't let that go. I've got that on the paper here.
The actual trial is amazing because you can really see what a good defense attorney is capable of doing.
Exactly.
That's an incredible skill because you have seen people do it poorly, and you have seen people who just are like...
By the way, you know who does it poorly? Poor people's attorneys.
Right.
But when you have, like they're in the state of Texas, they hire the best two guys, the best two lawyers in the state of Texas. It reminds you of the OJ trial. Let me go out and just buy a dream team of lawyers, and we are going to pummel this DA, and who's just a regular, $40,000 a year guy. And then at the end of it, you're like, well, I guess justice was served. But you can't ever really get fair in the system because not everybody they have a defense. They don't have the same kind of defense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, remember, I say remember, it was like 3 weeks ago, but the American Sniper trial. That guy had a regular lawyer, and he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Because he's like, it's really hard to prove insanity. And it is, unless you've got a lot of money and you're just pummeling this jury, bringing in different therapists and psychologists. And, you look up and you see somebody, like a lady in the jury crying and she's hearing this story, they'll get the best.
Because I think they easily could have went with the defense for this guy, that he was crazy, and asked to kind of lessen the sentence.
Right.
But the fact that they're just like, no, this is the case. And it was just full confidence. You felt full confidence from that, from the defense. And normally, I always think, no matter what side you're on, whatever information you have, you probably have to just believe what you're saying in order to be good at it. So if you're a defense attorney and you're like, oh, he probably did it, but you kind of have to put that out of your mind and focus on it. When they're interviewing that defense team, you really get a sense of like, oh yeah, we totally. I mean, they don't out and out say it, but everything that they say implies this is how we coached him to get him out of this.
Right.
This is how we placed it. And I don't think that's, in my experience, I don't think I've heard tons of defense attorneys come that clean with their
Well, the thing is, defense attorneys understand something that the general public doesn't. Is like there's always these degrees of guilt, right? So everybody is kind of guilty in their eyes. And then the worse you get is the better the defense that you get. So it's like if you went to somebody who solves puzzles and said, I've got this incredibly difficult puzzle, they're going to go, great. That's what I've been waiting for my whole life. So they don't look at it from, see, the way the general public looks at defense attorneys, they want them to be judges and juries, but that's not their job at all, you know?
And listening to the people on the jury talk, that was so intense because it just reminds you that these are just like regular people who are so ready to be influenced, like they're ready to just kind of eat up whatever information is given. Like I bet you that most people who sit on a jury lean back and forth to one side or another, whoever's talking. You know what I mean?
Well, like when you watch a good movie, you know, there's this TV show coming on right now called American Crime. It's going to be on ABC, and it's a crime story. But instead of really focusing on the cops and attorneys, like every other show you've ever seen, they focus on the families, the victims' families, the accused families, and almost anyone that they focus on at that time, you're like, oh yeah, you're right, you know. But here's another thing to remember about juries: they have zero legal background and had never even thought about any of this stuff until, you know, they got called in for a jury. I mean, there's never been a situation. It's almost like if you said to people, here's your number, you're going to be refereeing a football game this. You're like, what? And everybody out there on both teams is an expert, and you're just running around with a whistle trying to keep up.
Well, so much of the beginning of any trial is like coaching them on what the law is.
Yeah.
The burden of proof and going over that kind of, it's very redundant, and they go over it a ton. I mean, I was not picked for jury duty, but I was like on a short list, and it was very like close, and it was crazy kind of how redundant the things that they had to say, but it was like none of these people have any experience with this, and it kind of has to be like really driven home what their job is here and the way that they have to look at it, because it's not the way you're supposed to judge anything else in the rest of your life.
That's really a good point. Like you never, you know, it's always you deciding, here's the information. But they're saying, look, we don't want you to decide the rest of it. I was up for jury duty before, and so the case was this guy was selling heroin. He was busted. So, but it was in front of a school that he was selling heroin, right? So they wanted to get him for somehow, and you know. So I'm on the jury, and they're bringing up stuff. I'm in that little chair, and the judge is saying stuff, and I'm going like this. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people are walking in front of schools. It doesn't mean that you're selling heroin to the school. And I go, and even if you think about it, there's bars near those schools, so no one's ever going to say, "Hey, they're trying to serve alcohol to those kids." And the judge is going like this, and then I honestly say this. I go, if you really want to talk about the most dangerous drug, I think it's alcohol. The judge is like this. What are you talking about? I'm not asking you to change the law. I'm asking you to judge this case. And he starts getting mad at me. Just a fellow off the street. And I go like this. But still. You know? But still. I mean, you're not going to deal with it, but I'm telling you.
But it would be impossible to convict someone who is guilty of a crime against a law that you don't believe in.
It would be impossible to convict someone if I was on the jury.
I don't know if it would be really hard.
Because if I heard like the state of New York versus Fez Whatley, I'm always like, well, that's not fair. That's not a fair fight. That's a whole state. Like I was one confused man.
We're all against this guy. What say you?
And you would just see someone from the jury just step up and walk and stand shoulder to shoulder with him. This is not happening on my first day. This is not happening on my watch. Hung jury. But anyway, this show, which I guess no one is watching, this Jinx.
I keep bringing it up to people, and I don't know anyone else is watching it. That's why I had to tell
Well, I'm glad people aren't watching, because when they see that I put the head in one bag, and I didn't know it was going to float. It floated. It's just the way, the matter of factness that he could talk about crime and feel like I really had, just a regular guy who cut up his friend. Well, she disappeared. My wife disappeared. Everybody saw me kill her, but that doesn't necessarily mean I did it.
His voice is so eerie. It's how flat and emotionless it is. There's mommy. Wave to mommy. That scene was so scary. Also, the way he often refers to himself in the third person. I think anybody who... Because that's somebody who's able to detach themselves from who they are. I think that is maybe the biggest sign that he is capable of committing crimes.
Right.
Somebody could look down on themselves and be like, Bob would do this and Bob wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like, that's weird. You're having an out-of-body experience talking about yourself.
Yeah, you're looking at yourself like you were looking at like at a video game, and you're just sitting there making this character do stuff. Waved to mommy, and I waved to her, and then she was off the roof, and my dad said to me, "Would you like some ice cream?" But he was rich, so whatever. But you know what? This also got to you. So this happened years before. And when they get that cop, and it's like Texas, detective, it would be normally just the type of guy that you'd probably think, I don't like him. And he started to tell the story, and he's crying, and you see how important, you see that cops will go into a business, into that field to keep people safe, not just, hey, isn't it fun to have a gun and be able to drive fast and have power over people, but you see that he felt so terrible that he didn't keep people safe.
That was one of the more like shocking moments, I think, is just like watching that cop break down, and he feels like he failed the victim, that he feels like his job as a detective was to bring justice to the victim, because you see horrible things and you want
people to know they're safe.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this, and to see this weathered like Texas Ranger detective, and he's telling the story, and he's starting to cry, and I'm sitting on my couch, and I'm just like this, pussy. And then I'm like, why did you say that? I mean, so you didn't solve the Joe List murder. Okay. But in a lot of ways, didn't he bring it upon himself?
That's not something Ron would say.
Ron wouldn't do that. Here, watch my long, slow twitch after I lie. I twitch after I lie. Look, that's the indicator that everything is a lie.
Yeah, he has almost the most obvious tell I think I've ever seen, where it's just like the most severe blink. His whole body just like convulses. Like, I didn't kill her.
866-766-0339. If you're just waking up now, you're listening to Tales of Murder on hashtag Bennington. The show is called Jinx on HBO. There's only a couple more episodes left.
Yeah, 2, I think.
Unless he goes out and commits more murders within the next few weeks. Jack in D.C. Jack.
Right, I was just going to say that. I was curious how many more episodes are left. It's like, how many more motherfuckers is this guy going to kill?
Yeah, I know. By the time we get to Kennedy, I think...
that happens to be my last name. Hey,
Jack.
Well, where do you live?
I live in D.C. Hey, so what about at the end of episode 3, at the end of the interview, when he starts coaching himself and rehearsing the talking to himself,
and the lawyer had to come in and go like, dude, everybody hears you.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
It was really a weird moment. I was wondering, like, I don't know if there's like a moral obligation there. If you're like a documentarian, do you look at it the same way maybe a journalist looks at it? Like, obviously a journalist would include something like that, but do you feel like you're Did you feel like that was a dishonest moment to include that, or you were like?
No, because it's it's not like it's not like he's an entertainer or something, and this is just a fun, interesting thing. This is the show. I'm in the room with a cold-blooded killer,
right?
Who plans things, and the fact is, he's not like a brilliant guy.
Yeah,
it's just that no one else would do this shit. And then no one else has, this bottomless set of funds to defend himself.
Yeah, to cover things up and to escape when he needs to. Exactly.
I mean, if you look at this, there's part of you who goes, boy, our system just isn't fair, because, the victims don't have this kind of money, the victims' families. Also, the fact of, it even makes you think, what do you want out of the judicial system? And a big part of it, even though we say it's not, it's revenge. You know what I mean? Like, if a DA was being honest, he would, point to the mother and go, she deserves her revenge. Because that's what you kind of feel.
Yeah. And you can't really blame, especially if you're looking from the perspective of a victim's family. And I wonder how much that helped his defense, that this guy was a loner. He didn't have anyone there. There was no focal point to see a grieving wife or a crying mother, or you know what I mean, someone to humanize him. This guy was
the victim.
Yeah, the victim was a loner. He seemed like he was kind of like a crotchety old man. So I think that probably helped the jury, because they only had Durst to humanize.
Right.
They couldn't really think of that other guy as a human because they had no ties to his life.
Here is Chris. Chris, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron, the question I have is that scene where they ended the interview and the mic was hot.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that seem like that was staged, though, to you?
No, because I've done, when I first started radio, my partner and I went and hosted some kind of a weekend of Star Trek things or whatever it was. You ever see those weekends where you just have two hosts who pop in every half an hour? Hey man, Star Trek's still kicking ass. And during one of the breaks that we had, I went and pissed and came back and the whole crew was laughing. We heard you piss. I'm like, what? What did it sound like? Was it a nice frothy man piss? Or did it just seem like a little girl was tinkling? So, yeah, that happens all the time. You forget that you're mic'd.
Especially people who aren't used to being mic'd.
Right.
It's attached to your shirt. It's not like there's a microphone in front of your face. So it's possible. Also, I think if it was staged, I think that they probably would have went with something a little deeper. It was so eerie because it wasn't kind of a huge revelation. He's just coaching himself I didn't intentionally lie. He keeps saying it over and over. He's just practicing this script, but it's not the filmmaker walks away and he's like, I did kill him or something. That's why I kind of feel like it wasn't a staged moment.
And there's very little that anybody could do about that. You know what I mean? There's very little anyone could do. Tony, you're on the Run of Fed. Oh, you're on Bennington.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey.
Hey, so it looks like there is somebody else who watches that Jinx show, because everyone I mention it to has never even heard of it, but I'm really enjoying it. But the thing is, when we look at the guy, have you ever seen anybody who looks more guilty?
No, he's a very guilty-looking person.
Yeah.
Because he's so joyless and weird.
But the thing is, to me, if he really was guilty, why of the wife murder? I mean, why would he expose himself to public scrutiny like this? I mean,
why, when he's on the lam for murder, did he steal a hoagie when he had money in his pocket and in the car? Because he's nuts.
He's crazy.
Now, that doesn't mean insane, because he knows the difference between right and wrong, and that's the whole thing there. But he definitely is a person who is not thinking other than a moment-to-moment deal.
Yeah. It's kind of like an animal or something. It's like he's only out to please himself in that moment, and he's acting on his emotions. He doesn't think things through. I mean, him going into a Wegmans while he's on the lam and stealing a sandwich, throwing a hoagie in his jacket, and he can't even explain why. And then on top of that, it's not like cops showed up. The security guards were like, hey, you're going to have to come with us. And he went with them. Do you know how easy it would have been for him to be like, no, I got to go, or here's the sandwich, and run away? Like, there was part of him that just, I think that he's just living in the moment, always.
Yeah, it's almost like you're saying, you come home and the dog had climbed on the table and ate the cake and then shit all over the floor.
Right.
The dog is not looking like, oh, I'm going to be back later. But then when he does see you, he's like, oh, fuck, But he wasn't sitting worrying about it until that second.
I'll just deal with this later.
Yeah, it's nothing, really. This is something that'll blow over. Maybe the house will burn down. Why are we getting upset? Anyway, that's the TV show Jinx. And you know what? This is what I hate about true crime. If someone said to me, do you like true crime? I'll be like, no. Mm-hmm. And yet it's hard not to. And I go out of my way not to watch Dateline or any of those shows because I don't want to feel bad all the time.
Do you ever get invested in those high profile cases ever?
I try not to because they tend to be killing babies. Mm-hmm. But the OJ case, everyone in the United States of America was locked into that. Yeah. So much, I'll tell you this. I was on the air in Florida at the time. And the day of the OJ trial, there'll never be anything this big again. We randomly called, right? 7 different continents. We just called either hotels or stores or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we said, the OJ trial is going down today without knowing, asking who they were. Do you think he's going to be guilty or not guilty? And every continent, Antarctica, Africa, they all had an opinion. The entire world was paying attention to this murder trial. Even people who had never watched football before.
Absolutely. And I was a kid, and children were discussing the case because their parents were always watching the news, and children had thoughts and information to share with each other about what they had learned about the case, the trial. Yeah, but come on, that glove, come on. This was a conversation on the playground, which is crazy. It was huge.
I remember being in a restaurant and just everyone's in a restaurant and you just hear somebody slam their hand down and they go like this. Why wasn't the ice cream melted then? In the entire time. And people would go around the thing going like this. I've had ice cream out on my, people would start yelling back about the ice cream. Yeah. I've had ice cream sit on my counter for half an hour and I still couldn't push a spoon through it. I'm like, what has happened? I'm like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you. What has happened to the United States?
We also, my class, listened live on the radio to the verdict, which I wonder why they thought that was good. I mean,
because the teacher wanted to hear it.
Yeah, I guess now I realize that my teacher wanted to listen to it, but she framed it as this is important. This is important. This is news. This is history. But really, it's just a high-profile case. It was not necessary for us to.
Kids, we're going to study murder porn for a little bit today. But here's the thing: we called those 7 continents. Every white continent thought he was guilty, and every non-white continent thought he was innocent.
Interesting.
And that's a true story. Because we called Antarctica, and those scientists are like, "Yep, did it." You know what I mean? And then you call Africa, "No way." This is they're clicking and going on, and all right, easy, everybody.
Very polarizing.
It was, but at least that settled the race debate in America, and it's over now.
I know. I'm so glad we solved that.
We solve everything.
We just, move on.
We solve everything quickly through screaming.
Check. You can just check that off the list.
Bishop Egan died in New York City yesterday. He was our Catholic bishop for many, many years. His last words, have you heard it?
No.
His last words were, there is no God, I'm going to disappear.
No.
Are you that gullible?
No, I was just trying to sell it.
Well, it worked. No. Yeah. He said you're better to run through the streets taking drugs and raping because there's no heavenly responsibility.
Heaven is what stops people from raping?
Oh, yeah. That's why it was invented in the first place, to keep big guys down.
That's great. Do you think that...
100%.
But there are so many atheists out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that they...
Because I think atheists are like, well, I kind of think, just in case, I'm not going to rape anybody or commit any murders.
That's kind of how I am.
But don't you think it makes total sense to say to large guys, like back when you were putting together, by the way, you guys, you could beat everybody up and rape them, but if you want to live in heaven nicely and not burn, you won't. And then that guy will go like this, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No rape.
It's like when you're a kid. Santa's watching.
That's still
Santa
real.
knows.
That's still real. Don't kid yourself. There is a Santa.
There is a Santa, but there's no God, which is weird.
Denise wants to tell us something. Denise from...
I feel like I'm your
funny
regular Friday
premise.
caller.
What is it, Denise?
Hey, back during the OJ, the actual verdict came in, I was working with AT&T, and I went down to what was called the Network Operations Center, so that's where we monitored call volumes and see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down there so I could watch it on CNN, but we also watched the call volumes, and the call volumes across this entire country just literally went to nothing. Zippo. Because everybody got off their phones so they could watch the verdict. So it was really cool. Very cool.
Had
And
that
everybody
ever
went off
happened
drop.
before under any circumstances?
Not that I know of. Obviously, I was there forever. But we watched the call volumes go up on like Father's Day, Mother's Day, because everybody's calling their mother and their father on those days. So we see that kind of volume, but nothing like that. And everybody in the place, unfortunately, everybody was white, and everybody's mouth just dropped to the floor when we heard the verdict. It was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, there was... white people were surprised.
Yeah.
And shocked. It was like the most surprised... Well, I guess it's when, like, you're a Yankees fan and you just see somebody hit a walk-off home run and win the World Series against you. You're like, what? I don't understand how that could happen.
Right.
Now, the next time that nobody was talking was when they announced Shady McCoy was traded out of Philadelphia for no reason.
Unbelievable.
Well, we have more salary cap.
Right.
Unbelievable.
More salary cap. To what? Get players as good as Shady? No. No, we
don't understand it. I love Shady.
Everybody loves Shady.
The real McCoy, as I call him.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
It's never been done before.
I invented that.
Well, when he scores, I call him the unreal McCoy. But, they do these, they have these math equations now, and that's how quickly it turns on you.
Who's the kid that they traded like the season before? I wish I could remember his name, but he was really great too, and I was really pissed about that.
Yeah, he went to Washington and did nothing.
Yeah. I can't think of his name, but that I was bummed on that one too.
A-Train's going to be all over this, because
Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun
Jackson. He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man. But I was having, I'm going to call it a junior moment where I couldn't recall his name. A junior moment is when a baby is too stupid to know something.
I'm having a junior moment.
I'm having a junior moment right now. Hey, here's some good news. I guess if you're in PETA, the elephants are being fired from Ringling Brothers.
What'd they do?
Well, they caught them in the peanuts again. So what happens, they say they're going to phase them out over the next 4 years. In other words, your last time to see the elephants. This is going to bring people in
of course,
from all over to see elephants do stuff. But, a lot of people were feeling great about this because they always felt sorry for I'll say by the early 80s, they start to feel sorry. Before that, everybody just thought it was great. I remember when I went to the circus when I was a kid, my Uncle Bill took me, and at one point the ringmaster comes out and he says, "Kids, come down to the side and throw stuff at the elephants." And we were just chucking stuff, and we're just so happy.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a ton of people who are like, we've always had elephants at this circus, and we don't want it to change. I mean, there's so many people who take hard stances on things like they don't care about, really.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, that's the way it was when I was a kid, and that's the way it should always be. But this person is not going to the circus every
No
year.
one goes to the circus. I mean, not since TV was invented. There's no reason to go. The circus was monstrous when you just had no connection to anything. Kids on farms were seeing elephants and lions for the first time ever.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to see one. You got to see them lean on a ball and try to walk. But see, here's the thing, and this is the problem with progress, is you get something and then you find out it doesn't work out. So they're replacing the elephants with fat children. Oh, no.
You don't mean fat children.
Yeah. They're replacing them with fat children.
Oh, my God.
And they're going to make fat children walk on that ball. And then when the elephants leaves, I just see the lions looking over like, what? Did they say anyone else can? Did they mention anybody else?
Now, where are they going to retire to?
A nice park place? in somewhere in Central Florida, of course.
Nice.
Where the kids can come by and for $15 can throw stuff at the elephants.
No! Stop throwing things at elephants.
Darts. That kid just hit an elephant with a dart. Who else wants to step up here?
It did take a while for people to start feeling bad for animals.
I had no idea when I was younger. I should have. What's the best animal act you ever saw in your life?
Best animal act?
Because I saw one that was unbelievable in Key West. A guy was like doing a lion tamer thing, but with house cats. And it was the funniest shit I ever saw.
Really?
Like he had like a little fiery ring and this house cat jumped through it.
Oh, I think I was there.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, well, but you were looking at other stuff like, isn't there a roller coaster?
I started smoking at a young age.
7. At 7 because we thought it looked cool.
But I quit young, so that's good.
I think, because you had a hacking cough by 9. So cute. It's so cute to see a little one with tuberculosis, the way their little bodies jiggle when they cough.
I actually did notice that, like, when I was smoking, that my voice had changed.
Hello?
And I was like, if I stay on this course, I know what I'm going to sound like. I should probably
Well, when people talk to you on the phone, they say, "I'll be right back, sir." And you're like, "No, I'm a 19-year-old girl." But kids shouldn't smoke unless they want to look cool.
I know.
Unless they want to pick up girls. I know they should.
That is always what you told my friends when I was a kid.
I was kind of an annoying person. I did a bad job, okay? Is that it? Does everyone...
It always got a big laugh, though.
I know. Well, because just say the wrong thing.
And then some kids always like, it's funny to do it to little kids because sometimes they're, no!
No, we learn at school.
We won't smoke. It's bad.
And I go like this. You want to smoke, you don't want to end up like a Jew, do you? Am I right, kids?
Great lessons.
You know who doesn't smoke? Jews. Anyway, poop. Huh? Poop. That's all you got to do to make a kid laugh.
Oh, yeah.
You drop the goddamn P word and everybody's losing it. Eric in Chicago wants to bring up something. What's up, E-Rock?
Good morning, Bennington. I'm a high school teacher, and we had an idea a couple of years ago for a charity game. It's called Donkey Basketball.
I've seen Donkey
Basketball.
Basketball.
A traveling group.
Yeah. I saw that when I was a kid, Donkey Basketball, and I saw Donkey Softball.
Wow.
Yeah, I've lived quite a life.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
so
the problem the kid had with it, I didn't know this, but they have to put like these kind of tarps underneath their balls, so if they shit, they don't ruin the basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, in order to make this go smoother, they starve the donkeys for 2 days before they have them play.
Oh.
And there's videos of like starving donkeys. So we went to do this we thought inane like just charity event, and we got a ton of negative press. We ended up having to cancel it because of starving donkeys.
Oh gosh.
Why not just play against homeless people, and then put tarps into them in case they shit?
That's a good idea.
And that way humans are working.
And throw them a buck, you know? Yeah.
I'm not going to throw them any money.
Throw them a buck.
Ted in Indiana.
Morning, Bennington.
Good morning.
Hey, Ron, I want to tell you about the time I went to the circus. And, you know, they either have the seals and the lions and the apes and whatever, and none of them this day were going to cooperate with anybody. The first thing was they had a big monkey ape on a chain riding a motorcycle in the circus, around in a circle. The monkey jumps off the motorcycle, starts throwing the chain back at the guy. The lions weren't going to get on the balls. The seals weren't touching the horns. It was like they all got together and said, not doing it.
It's like a Pixar movie, you know, where just the day the animals revolt at the Pixar movie.
We're done with this shit.
Yeah.
And literally my kids were like, well, I guess we're not going to the circus anymore.
All right, I'm reading hashtag Bennington, and April said, in England, they do not say buoy, they say Bowie.
Bowie.
I didn't know that, David Bowie. Because Gervais always says, when I was a kid, I was a fan of David Bowie's.
David Bowie.
Yeah. There's a star, man.
I remember that, Avril Lavigne,
Remember? Got a poster up.
I kind of remember her having to do something at an award show, and she said David Bowie, and she got a lot of shit for it.
See, we were
not
wrong.
to sound English, but
yeah.
I mean, she's Canadian, so maybe, I don't know. Maybe
yeah, they
that's
know
not
better.
But they just treated it like she doesn't know who David Bowie is.
She's an idiot, yeah. By the way, her name is Avril Lavigne.
Lavigne.
Is there a Lavigne here? Anywhere?
It's Levine.
What's up with Avril? I know she did that whole boyfriend song. I'm gonna get
you
your
know
boyfriend.
what? I saw something like maybe it was like a year ago. She had another single out, and she just ripped off the Gwen Stefani comeback and just had a bunch of Harajuku girls. And I was like, this is weird because it's only like, you know, like 5 or 6 years after Gwen Stefani did the same thing.
Yeah, but
it's really bizarre.
When your audience is 9, you can do that.
You can get away with it. They're like, Gwen Stefani, who's that?
Here's Kevin in South Carolina. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Good morning, Bennington. Hey, Ronnie, do you remember the diving horse in Atlantic City?
Steel Pier. Yeah.
And if I recall, I was little. He just jumped off a board and went into a pool with a lady on his back. Did he? That was the
No, it went right into the ocean, but he got shocked in the ass, they said. They used to shock him on the ass to make him jump.
No, oh, wow. I didn't know that. I was like very disappointed. I was like, that's all he does?
I actually saw, I just remembered this, I saw the last living diving horse in the U.S.
You saw it get killed?
No, I mean, I saw.
You said last.
I saw.
Where was it?
It's in Lake George, New York, upstate New York. And there is a very weird little, it's like a kind of like a theme park, but it's very old school and very creepy. It's like all the stuff is like ancient and not really updated at all. But I had read that they had the last diving horse in America because they don't do it anymore.
How far did it dive?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's not like the impressive one that they used to have. It's like he's just like a chubby little pony jumping into the water. But it was like
But what
amazing.
are we saying?
It's
6 feet, 12 feet?
Well, there it is. That's it.
Well, we're on the radio.
Well, everyone should just look at that. I don't know. I would say 20 feet, 30 feet.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it's cute. Like, it wasn't like, it's not like the way, if you've seen like old pictures of it or they run and then jump, this chubby little pony just kind of walks up to the edge and then just hops in. But it was crazy. Look, there you go.
Lake George is an amazing place because that's not 20 feet. That's like 6 feet.
No, that was like a good 20 feet.
No way. What are you, crazy?
Look, That's not 6 feet.
That maybe at most it's 8 feet, but children could dunk on that thing. It's at Magic Forest.
Magic Forest, yeah.
In Lake George. Lake George it's like driving into a time machine. It's like the time forgot because it has this 1958 kind of Davy Crockett.
It does.
You know?
And this particular place is totally surreal. It's just like all olds, like it has a giant Uncle Sam standing next to a giant Santa Claus. Standing next to each other outside. It's
you know why? Because
totally
kids
bizarre.
see that and they're like, we've got to go in there. Everything is giant. And a horse jumps 6 feet.
Good 20. Solid 20.
No, you ought to be pitching that shit if you're saying 20 feet. 20 feet, ladies and gentlemen.
Step right
He's up in the air there. It's got to be up to 20 feet. It's right above that little girl's head.
I do have carny blood, so.
Who doesn't? Let's, here's Kevin in New York. You're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Gail.
Hi.
Buck 298. Hey, I watched a newscast on the elephants last night on ABC or NBC, one of them big ones. And they're taking them out of the show because of supposedly they're not being treated right or anything. And then they show they're going to retire them down to their facility in Florida, and these elephants are going to be living in little enclosed pens about as big as somebody's backyard. Now, how's that any better?
Well, just because something else is bad doesn't mean that the first thing is right.
Yeah, they probably shouldn't be traveling the way they are.
I mean, where they're supposed to live is like Africa or India, not in, Central Florida or, in
being paraded through the tunnel.
Yeah, oh God, this would be our last years to see it. And I never go out in the middle of the night. I want to see it.
I bet a lot of people show up.
Shit. I've always wanted to see that. Just see elephants running through a tunnel in the middle of New York. And a lot of people go out and they're just like, there they are, kids. There they are.
Now we don't have to go to the circus.
But see, the thing is like, if a kid really wants to see an elephant, he can go on Netflix now. Mm-hmm. Do you like zoos?
I have enjoyed a zoo or two. Sure.
That's awful.
Remember we went to one of those zoos where you just drive through? Like there's no enclosures?
Oh, yeah. It was one of the great adventures, I think.
Yeah, we went to one was it in South Dakota? And there was a bear one that we went to, and then we went to one in South Florida.
Well, the one that you went to in South Dakota was like an actual national park.
No, it wasn't. Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
It was a national park where there was just bears and buffaloes and shit.
That was crazy.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you think of it as a zoo. I'm glad you thought Daddy spent $7 instead of taking everyone across the country. God damn it. There's something, I don't know whether it went up on the iBang yet this morning, but it's one of those parks that had a lion in it, and you got to see it. I got to find out whether it's up yet or not. I'll get right back to you. Here's Grady. Grady, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, good morning. Great to talk to you both. Listen to you often. Glad you're on Friday mornings.
Oh, cool.
I have to share, listening to your story about circus animals. There's a traveling circus that comes to Charleston every year. It's like the budget circus with the real big top, and comes to the fairgrounds. Well, I took the kids when they were little. And, they give the cheap seats away for free, but you have to pay $8 to get the VIP seats. And so watching the circus, they bring the tigers into the center ring. They're going round and round. Each one gets up on their stand, and then the main act gets up on his stand, which is higher than most. He's facing us. And as soon as he gets up on the stand, the tail goes up, and a stream comes out like a freaking garden hose. It's hitting the folks who are sitting in the VIP seat across from us. It's dripping off the kids. The moms are freaking out. Other people are handing them napkins. They're wiping them off. And the crazy thing is, nobody freaking leaves. They sit and watch.
I wouldn't either. I would take the hot tiger piss.
It was so, I couldn't believe it. I still tell that story all the time.
You should. I remember like when they took us into Philly when I was like in first or second grade to the zoo, and the zoo, the monkeys were just chucking shit at the children, and it was about as happy as we had been the whole year. I was like, that's like poop, and kids were just running in every which way. It was just wonderful.
I saw that at the old chimp farm in Florida. You remember the chimp farm?
To remember the chimp farm, you can't beat a chimp. Can't beat a monkey.
Got my eyelid tore off, my finger tore off.
All right, go over to the iBang A-Train, and we got to see this Lion Park. It just went up. Or perhaps not. Perhaps we're a little slow here. Boy, we're thrown off today. You know what? I'm cut off from the world because I don't have a smartphone.
I feel great. I have an hour and a half extra sleep that I normally do when I do Bennington.
Is that right?
I'm good about it.
Can I have your phone then? Can I keep it?
No. You can hold it, but I'm not going to give you the passcode.
All right, here is, if you go over to the iBang and check this out. Here, go back to the beginning of it, A-Train, and give us some volume, Shelby. You want to stay involved. You're in a show, right? Give us volume.
Okay, Dad. You
nice volume.
Car, you're gonna have to.
Watch this lion comes up to the car.
Did you video that? Yeah, but it's not a very good one.
I'm sure this is Africa where they are.
Yikes. Oh,
Just lions hanging around outside of the car, and one's right up to the car. Right up to the car.
I know.
The lion opens the car door. The lion opens the car door. Bring it up again. The lion opens the car door.
That is insane.
Now, remember when the Raptors did that?
Yeah.
In Jurassic Park?
They were able to figure out how to open the little fridge.
And then then people were like this later. You know, it was fake. It was the Raptors opening up a door. I go, not the fact that this guy grew dinosaurs in his island. That's not fake.
I loved that movie as a kid. That's just so exciting.
It was the last movie where I let anybody bring up the CGI. You know what I mean? Like, after that, I'm like, I don't care anymore. It's all good.
Yeah, but if you watch that movie, it looks better than the CGI that they have now.
Right.
Because they were doing something really clever where the dinosaurs from far away, they were using CGI, and then all the up close stuff was animatronics.
That's because it was Spielberg.
And it's real. So you're looking at something that's real. Except like when you see CGI and someone like CGI's like Spider-Man's face and it just doesn't look right. It's stupid.
I like to see like the little green outline on the outside of it. That kind of puts me in the movie. That's the movie magic. But how amazing is that these kids with their dad and the lion opens up the door to eat the family. To eat, and then,
but that doesn't, it shows you like it's just a big cat. Like it's just like pawing at the door, like the way a cat like can open doors.
It's just a large cat. That's all. God, that's amazing. It's up on the Interrobang this morning. You will see a lion open a car door and eat the two youngest girls in the back seat. It did not eat Mom because she gets to ride shotgun. I'm sitting next to your dad.
Shoddy. Mom always has to call Shoddy.
Shoddy, everybody.
I call Shoddy.
You know why Mom gets Shoddy? Because it's your birthday. It's your birthday.
And they got to deal with the map. Remember when parents had maps?
Kids, shut up. We're looking at a map right now.
Parents used to have to use maps in order to get you places. And now they don't have to.
We take this red line for about 6 inches, and then we make a right at a blue line.
It's so bizarre to think. I can't imagine navigating now. I can't imagine having to take out a map, Hope this is right. Hope I'm looking at this correctly.
See,
We don't end up in the wrong city.
See, the thing is, men used to love to look at maps. That's all they would care about. A lot of times, you'd just be sitting there at your house looking at a map.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Let's plan this out.
If I ever go to British Columbia, I know exactly where I'm going. Are you planning a vacation? Kind of. What do you mean? I'm not going there. I'm just planning it.
Just the planning part.
Just the planning. Well, when I was a kid, as soon as they gave us a map in school, I was thrilled. And what I used to always like to do is sometimes I would trace the map, and then figured out changing borders as you would conquer those areas. So you could actually bring our troops in and go right down to the river, Euphrates, and have that area. But I think that's why men got involved in war in the first place.
A love of maps.
Yeah.
My little brother loved maps too. Like if we went to a theme park, he always wanted to be like the one.
I'll hold the map.
I got it.
I'll tell you when Futureland is. Relax, everyone. Follow me. We're going past the banana stand and then straight to Futureland. Was that a break thing you gave me? Because you're in the dark and I can't see you, Rock.
No, I was just what you were saying about maps is when I got my first car, my dad, in the front seat there was the yellow Rand McNally book for Long Island, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Love a map. Men love a map. But now, you just have some little robot in a phone telling you where. Well, I don't because I don't have a phone anymore.
Right.
But a little robot in a phone will tell you where to go. And it gives up a lot of the excitement.
It does.
Jason, you're on the Run and Fez show.
Hey, Ronnie and Gail. About the lady driving through the thing and having the line open up her door. I always noticed like years ago when you went to bad neighborhoods like that, you're supposed to lock your doors.
One time we were in the city of Philadelphia, and it was during the frightening time of if you're driving through there, try to make sure you stay alive. And so we pull up to this light, and there's all these black kids that were just standing on the corner. And my cousin, Flossie, as she's looking at him, she just leans over slowly and locks the door.
God.
And they all just fall out laughing. They just fell on the ground laughing, just the fact that someone would slowly lock the door. We're safe now from you. This thin pane of glass keeps us away from civil unrest.
I just decided to lock this just right now at this moment.
Yeah.
No reason, just because I realized it was unlocked. Not because of you.
Well, only because I saw a video where a lion was able to do that. And if I thought that could happen, so could inner city youths. They would find a way to open a door, too. Oh, yeah, we didn't bring this up. Harrison Ford crash-landed his vintage plane. And when I first saw it pop out, the breaking news, it sounded like Harrison Ford was gone.
Yeah. I saw the headline and was too freaked out to even look at it. I had to take a moment.
Now they just said that he had head stuff.
Yeah.
I hope not in that movie. Remember that movie where he kind of turned into a little boy again?
Yeah.
Because he got shot in the head.
I think, but he was kind of stumbling around, right? When they found him.
Yeah. I don't have any more details once I found out he was going to be okay.
Yeah.
I just moved on to make sure that Luke Skywalker was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But, people are going why would anyone his age be up in a vintage plane? I don't get it.
You age out of planes?
Yeah, at a certain time you stop being in Daredevil,
right?
Planes. But the guy, I don't know.
I think maybe I'd be more of a Daredevil the older I got.
So as you get into your 90s, yeah,
try skydiving. Why not?
That's why if we want to just shoot up test rockets to Mars, fill them with the elderly.
Exactly. It's going to be hard to explain the technology, though.
Of course, here's the Delta flight skipped off the runway yesterday, too.
It's too bizarre.
Yeah.
Too crazy. A lot of plane stuff yesterday.
I just I know, all at the same time.
I know.
Did it land? But the...
I was bugging out.
No, I know.
losing it.
That's why I don't have to worry anymore, because you do.
Yeah.
But I wish I was there when E-Rock's dad was like, "You're a man now. I am giving you a map of the tri-state area. This can take you anywhere your dreams will."
That's a big day for a young man.
Well, do you remember too, like if you would go like into like a Howard Johnson's or a Ramada Inn, they would give you a thing of how to get to all their hotels around the country.
Yeah.
And all those things are gone. And people used to be like in the binder, well, we got a great business. We make ups. We put together books for Howard Johnson's. And then they're like, we don't need you anymore. There's an app for that.
There's an app for it. Doesn't need to exist anymore.
Jay in California.
Listen, prick, on behalf of all the nerds, it's fucking Han Solo, not Luke Skywalker.
All right, go back and listen, Dick. And the whole point was, now that I have Han Solo safe, I went to check on Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
Look, here's another thing. Here's another thing. You and your nerd nation have won, okay? You rule the world. You've shat upon every goddamn movie theater in America.
You're no longer the minority.
You're not the minority, you're the majority, and the majority of nerds. You're the nerd majority. I'm going to bring this up when we come back. We got a break first.
Okay.
Mappy, take us out of this. It's Bennington.
Bennington will be right back. Tweet #Bennington in the meantime. Only on Opie Radio, XM 103, Sirius 206.
Gail, you're young and you don't remember when boxing was king. During my lifetime, the biggest thing you could do was boxing, but boxing hasn't been on NBC primetime in 30 years. Now it's back. Tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern / 5:30 Pacific, live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the world's best fighters return to NBC as unbeaten 147-pound champion Keith one-time Thurman does battle to defend his title against veteran slugger Robert the Ghost Guerrero. And 3 times world champion Adrian the Problem Broner goes to a war with hard-hitting John the Gladiator Molina. Everybody's got like a "the" in the middle of them. It's very, very, very exciting night. Join everybody. This is the start of a whole new era in boxing, hosted by the great Al Michaels and featuring commentary by Marv Alpert, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Lalia Ali. That's the daughter of the great Muhammad Ali, the hero of my generation. Watch it live on NBC tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Don't miss it. I got to tell you, the most exciting night of my life, and this is included when my children were born. This actually overshadows my children were born. I'm at the MGM Grand, and seeing an ear getting bit off in the middle of the ring.
I can't believe you're there still. It's crazy.
It's the most exciting night of my life. And leading up to it, there had to be 150 giant celebrities that were all, there to see Mike Tyson and Vander Holyfield. The excitement level was like 100 Super Bowls. So I congratulate NBC on this. And you want to make sure you're there tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Don't miss it. Premier Boxing Champions, where the next legends collide.
Crowd the plate, and he'll put one in your ear. It's Bennington on Opie Radio, XM 103, Sirius 206.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things.
I walked in town on silver spurs that jingle too. a song that I had only sang to just a few. She saw my silver spurs and said, let's pass some time, and I will give to you summer wine. Oh, summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Take off your silver spurs and help me pass the time, and I will give to you summer wine. Oh, summer wine.
My eyes grew heavy and my lips, they could not speak. I tried to get up, but I couldn't find my feet. She reassured me with an unfamiliar line, and then she gave to me more summer wine. Summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Take off your silver spurs and help me pass the time, and I will give to you summer wine. Summer wine.
When I woke up, the sun was shining in my eyes. My silver spurs were gone, my head felt twice its size. She took my silver spurs, $1 and a dime, and left me craving for more summer wine. Oh, summer wine.
Strawberries, cherries, and an angel's kiss in spring. My summer wine is really made from all these things. Take off those silver spurs and help me pass the time, and I will give to you my summer wine. Oh, summer wine.
You're listening to Bennington. It's 866-766-0339. Gail, why don't you introduce the house band to everybody today?
House band today is Nancy and Lee, and that was Summer Wine.
Nancy Sinatra and Lee
Hazelwood.
Lee Hazelwood.
They are just so cool and so weird. I love them both together so much.
But you know what's weird when I sing that along with that song? I sing the Nancy parts. I mean, that doesn't make me comfortable. Lee is just way too masculine for me.
They did 3 albums together. They did Nancy and Lee, Nancy and Lee again, and Nancy and Lee 3, which was like many years later. But they're all very, very weird and sexy. It's such a strange sound that they put together, which is like psychedelic country music.
It's almost like it's psychedelic middle-aged cocktail music for the 60s.
But there's something cowboy-esque about it. You know, he brings like the country vibe to it.
But see, the cowboys, like the 60s, if you were over, the teen years, if you weren't a rocker, it was all about astronauts, cowboys, a lot of masculinity, and women that were just like, I like to stay home and mix cocktails for my man when he gets home. And then the kids would be like, I hate you, I'm going to Woodstock.
Yeah, they're a very sexy combination. They're very like dynamic together.
But for people that like were over 30 in the 1960s, the 1960s were still the 1950s. You know what I mean?
True.
Like there was no...
Only some people moved on in
Yeah.
that decade. Other
Yeah.
people stayed.
If you watched the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and your jaw dropped and you said, I'm changing my life, but then a whole nother generation went, this is stupid. That's the generation that these two played too.
I'm staying right here.
This is a new drink. We call it a margarita. It comes from Mexico. Let's drink up, honey.
The texture of his voice is so amazing. He's got that Leonard Cohen, like, gravel, deep baritone gravel. Very cool.
Nancy, it's Lee Greenwood.
Most of their songs are...
Lee Greenwood again.
You
Pittsburgh
love,
Steeler.
You love Lee Greenwood.
Well, what can I do? I love the steel curtain. I'm not going to lie to you. And Hazelwood isn't a real name.
His first name is actually Barton.
Barton. Listen,
but Nancy and Barton didn't sound as cool as Nancy and Lee.
I know you're mad at me when you call me Barton. God damn you.
There's this really incredibly weird track on the second album. It's like the last track, and she's drunk, definitely.
Sure.
And they're talking. He's possibly drunk, but maybe he just sounds high. I'm not really sure. But it sounds like that it's a really late night. They're like silly. They're all giggling. And the end of the album, she's just like, Barton. She's just calling him Barton at the end of the album. It's so great. And the song is actually really cute, too. But
how many times do you think Lee Hazelwood has had make this statement? Frank, we're just working together. I never had sex with her. I wouldn't disrespect you like that. I know she's your little girl. He's constantly showing up at people's houses.
He would be intimidating, too.
Someone said that she used to date Elvis for a little while until Frank put a squash on it. But
not in my house.
Not here.
Not my little girl.
Not with the king. King, get in here. I don't know, Frank. I look into the two of them being together. Just came up with a song I call Boots Are Made for Walking. I think it's perfect for Nance. By the way, I got her a gig in Vietnam. No, during the war.
Yeah, Boots Are Made for Walking is such a sexy song, too.
Well, it was a giant hit. Gigantic, bigger than life hit.
Eternally sexy, I feel.
And then she did Something Stupid with her dad.
Oh, yeah. Did they do like a...
Yeah, that was something stupid, isn't it? Then I went...
Something stupid like
I love you. Listen, I wanted to talk about nerd culture since the nerd called in, and you've won, and there's, movies and music. Movies are cartoons, and music is now Glee, and everybody is an idiot. This is how bad we've gotten since we stopped bullying. And it's up on the iBank today. BuzzFeed had put this up as the best mitzvah invite ever. But I watched this and I wanted to say someone has to help this child because he thinks he can do this without the kids at school. You're not always going to be in a little Jewish school.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're going to have to interact with other people. So just watch this for a moment and tell me if this was your kid, how quickly you would stop him. It's put up on the iBang as you'll never unsee this mitzvah invite. I'm going to say it's probably safe for work, but not all work. Like if I was a cop, I wouldn't watch this at work. All right, put this up.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. The countdown's begun to my mitzvah day. Trying to study hard, but my head's up in space. Hands in the air, like I don't care, just wanna party. because I'm Jewish. Clap along if you feel like Old Testament is the
And he
truth.
looks like Uncle Fester with hair.
I'm Jewish. Clap along if you're 13. That means you're no longer a youth. Because I'm Jewish. Clap along if you just tried Manischewitz and it tastes like juice. Because I'm Jewish. Clap along if you're my maid. You wear a really expensive suit. Cause all of me would love all of you to come attend my mitzvah party. My mom will probably cry and get all snotty. You're gonna lift all of me in a horror high above you. Check out the service at the beginning. I'll be the guy in the Bima tweeting hashtag I'm winning. You'll understand every word I read, even if you are not a Jew. Whoa. I'm gonna make my brother wear a dress.
Still going on.
Put my sister in a cage, just like my doggies. What? Cause my parents all kind of stressed.
There they are. They love him. He's precious.
Well, I'll do what I say. Cause this here's my party. And I'm allowed to be spoiled. Shouting orders like a king. And you cannot make a fuss. Even if you think it sucks, let me be your ruler. Call me King Brody, and baby I'll rule, I'll rule, I'll rule, I'll rule. That's my mitzvah fantasy. Let it go, let it go.
Seriously.
I am one with the wind and sky.
Bullies help.
Let it go. You'll never see me cry. I don't really have any mitzvah jokes here. I just always wanted to try that. Everybody get up. Bring a sleeping bag.
Now he's naked.
Don't even hesitate. We're going all night. That's how we celebrate. Maybe we'll all go deaf. Maybe we'll all go blind. Maybe we're out of our minds. I'm seeing blurred lines. Listen with my rabbi. Challah bread on standby. So happy I might, I'm seeing blurred lines. RSVP to my party.
Oh my God.
It's all about me. Everybody get up.
Oh. And everyone loves this.
Oh my God.
Now this is the problem with Glee winning, because this is acceptable now.
I think it's more a problem with parents who think that their children are so incredibly precious and so incredibly talented that they think that the world will feel the same way.
You know what? I'm going to give the parents the pass when it's an infant or even a toddler. But this is
it's a large child.
This is a 13-year-old, because it's mitzvah time.
Mm-hmm.
When did we start getting that casual? And the whole thing is like, look at me, this is my day, as if he was an annoying bride.
It's the worst. It's worse than the Sweet 16 and worse than the
Well, you couldn't be a more awkward age than 13. And
That's the last time. That is the least fun time of your life. I would not want a huge party where everyone was looking at me and taking pictures of me.
And it
at
stays
13.
like that.
If pictures of me at 13 were hung up over my parents' house, I would be pretty upset about it.
Why? You were a nice young boy then. 866-766-0339. 866-766-0339. Brian, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, that kid was nothing more than a trained schnauzer by his mom. There's no way he has the chops to put that together. His mom is behind that. And something that she's got to realize is that kid is at some point, going to get out of the circle that only includes her and her friends.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of people wrote this in, which is really strange. Is that Jenny Hutt singing? A lot of people thought that young mitzvah boy was Jenny Hutt. Here's Josh. Josh in New Hampshire.
This is worse than a quinceanera. Honestly, this is driving a spike between Judaism and Christianity. This kid is going to get the shit kicked out of him when he goes to public school.
I mean, I don't want to overblow it, but I am on the side of Palestine now, and I never was.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the thing. To hear it is horrifying. To see it, a million times worse.
Way worse.
It's up on the iBang, and what this young man does before he has the sensibility to do it. That's why you need an older brother or older kids to do the bully gimmick of stop acting like that.
Exactly. I don't condone bullying, but it is the truth of life. It's something that this kid is going to deal with. And you have this little roly-poly kid naked with his blurred lines. I mean...
Yeah, his blurred lines over what would, I guess, one day be a penis. You know what I mean? If nurtured properly, he'll be able to be out like that in public, but not now.
Also, I have to think, if this was a little girl, how would we be reacting about the parents making a video?
You would be saying, they've gone too far. They're sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're sexualizing her if they blurred out her bikini area.
But this is great for me because I never had a chance to see a 13-year-old Uncle Fester. So this is nice. But see, you do, I might have done something this stupid at 13, but I had parents, older brother and older sister, who would stop me and say, no, you're not doing this, and then call me what they considered the worst phrase ever. Larry Coker, who was a kid in the neighborhood who they didn't want me to grow up to be like. You're acting like Larry Coker. And I'd be like, he's a person. He's a human.
It's a way to be.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Fran Lebowitz thing where she's saying that if you're giving your kids so much confidence, not everyone is meant to be creative people.
Right.
Yes, you should encourage your kids to be creative, but you should not push it so far that they believe that they're good at things that they're not good at.
You know who's done that is Will Smith with his children. They gave those children so much love that they don't know they're nuts anymore. Those kids, they get out and they do stuff, and they're used to their parents going, Hercules, Hercules.
There's just a ton of confidence. Most of the young artists out there who maybe you think are not very good, the thing is they're just very confident.
Very confident. Now, this is over on the iBang. You want to go check it out. By the way, we're in a minority opinion that we think that this kid has gotten too much rope. His parents obviously love it. The friends love it. And BuzzFeed called it the best of all time because Glee has won. You know what I mean? Right. Rock and roll lives underground. Glee has won. Carlos in Westchester. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hey, how you doing? Love the show.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, just getting back to your question, not question, but you said stuff about nerd culture and how all these superhero movies and superhero TV shows are on nowadays. In your day, wasn't it like Westerns? Wasn't it Westerns was like the main media thing that you guys watched? TV Westerns, TV movies about Westerns?
I don't know why I'm talking to you. I just don't know why you just brought up Westerns constantly. Westerns, yes. I'm going to go home and watch The Unforgiven this afternoon.
I love a Western, as you know.
Here's Sean. Sean, go ahead.
Can I download this song on Schmecklify?
See, now I don't want this to turn in to something. Yes, this is not
because people feel like they need to come forward and bully him.
Yes,
this is what the majority needs to do.
All right, here's Bud. Bud is very supportive of Mitzvah Kid. Go ahead, Bud.
Hey, it's Ed.
don't get me wrong, that was terrible, that kid singing. But I support him in the sense that, if he can approach this as like a tongue-in-cheek thing, the times are changing, Ron.
Oh, I said that.
Nowadays, yeah, it's like, they get these quick YouTube hits, and that's the entertainment that they have now. It's,
Yes, but the entertainment could still be somewhat cool. It doesn't all have to be corny.
And it should be good.
Yeah. And it doesn't all have to be Frozen.
Right.
He's a boy at 13. He shouldn't be singing Frozen.
And if you think of it this way, if you're a parent, and would you want your kid falsely confident that he could win a fight, or you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You wouldn't want him to be in a dangerous situation. I feel art is the same way. Do you want this kid to think that he's
But what about
he's going to age out of this, and it's not going to be cute
within 6 months?
Yeah.
And then, he's going to have to deal with it when he's 16. But I'm sure that he goes to a nice private school now.
Right.
But it's not always going to be that way. And he's going to school with kids that he's grown up with, and he probably does this act, and everybody agrees with it. But now they're letting it go viral. There's kids in Korea going like this. That kid a dick. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be careful with it. But there is, where all the people come back and think that, Don't Stop Believin' is a great song, is where we are now.
I know he stresses you.
Yeah, like they look backwards and go like, that must have been a great age. You guys were listening to Don't Stop Believin' all the time. No, we weren't. Trucker Dan, go ahead.
Ronnie B, I love you and Gail on the air together. You guys
Thanks.
are great. My observation was that it couldn't possibly be Jenny Hutt singing on that video because she didn't challenge Chris Rock to get mitzvahed.
Well, the thing is, I challenge Chris Rock to hate the cops now. This is Jenny Hutt. Wait, I'm just looking at my Twitter and I'm going to delete that video.
I wish
Ron
we could pull that
tricked me.
video up.
Ron tricked me. We should have ghost videoed it or whatever it was and played it every day. I'm sure we played it on the air, so at least we have the audio that we can go back and get. Kevin in Virginia. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, buddy. I grew up blue collar in Pittsburgh. I'm 41, man, and I see all of my friends that have kids nowadays, especially boys, and they get to that age, and it's like they all just start dancing and singing and carrying on, and it's really uncomfortable. I mean, in my opinion, they're just being raised a little, I don't know, feminine or something.
Feminine isn't even the least of his problems. You know what I mean? Feminine is about his fourth or fifth problem.
I mean, sure, this kid is clearly a little effeminate, but that's not what I think the problem is.
No, not at all.
The problem would be an intense amount of confidence in
something that he shouldn't be overly look, should he be doing this in his room? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dance around your room singing into a hairbrush. But you've got 112,000 hits on this. This is like if you were dancing around in your room singing Blurred Lines into a hairbrush, right? And then you turned around and the curtains were open and you saw your neighbors laughing. You would have to dive on the ground, not still doing it in the window to them, which is what he's doing. And I'm going to use it in a term that he can understand. You don't want to be shaking your naked tuchus out there to the world.
In fact, I think his femininity is maybe one of the few things that I like about him. Like, I like that he's a little weirdo. I think that's cool.
That is cool.
It's cool to be a weird kid.
But be protected from it. Here's Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah, after listening to that, not only do I now want Iran to get a bomb, I want them to drop it.
Let's see. Now, that's not...
Look what we've opened up.
Yeah, that's not where we were going with this. We're on his side. We want him to do well. And the kid obviously has some humor about him.
Sure. I mean, he's weird. He's got a sense of humor.
Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's great. Maybe this thing is great. Yeah. Maybe we love this kid. We just want to protect. We want to run wingman for him.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to beat him up in the locker room for
Look,
this.
I want everybody to understand this. This kid's under my protection right now. Anyone touches this kid, it's like touching me. And you're dead. Now.
I mean, I had a buddy like that growing up.
Yeah,
You know,
imaginary.
No. I had real friends.
Did you?
You know, he's a weird kid, you know? A little feminine, if you know what I mean? A little born this way. I looked out for him.
Sure you did. With that short haircut of yours.
FH since day one.
Anna in Chicago.
Hi there,
Yeah.
Brian. I just had this conversation with my kids last night, and I'm totally going to use this video as the reason why they shouldn't be posting things
Good.
online. They don't realize, even beyond the bullying thing, you have to realize that stuff is going to be out there until they're like 35. I don't want to be looking at something like that. It's bad enough that there are pictures of me from that era.
Yeah.
But now, and I would kill my parents if they allowed me to do something like that. So I told them they can take all the videos they want, they can save them until they're adults, and then they can post them.
It's so funny that this is something that you have to worry about now. You're not uploading that. It's not good enough.
There's such a huge gap there between like what kids are working with and then like we didn't have that. We didn't have the ability to just release ourselves to the world that way. And it's so weird that kids can do that. And it's encouraged.
Well, it's encouraged because the parents, they have to take the kids to each thing. So that it's like you're part of it. Instead of having Kids World, you're there to see your kid the first time doing like you're in tumbling class till 3:15, and then we're going to volleyball, and you're just like, why are you with me all the time? Let me go out with my friends. And then you and your friends are going to sit in a hot tub while me and their parents look at you.
I didn't have any activities as a kid. I just wanted to come home, do my own thing, hang out with my friends.
Well, you had those friends. You had like a good neighborhood.
I had a good crew.
Where you guys were running around together, but it never, there wasn't a thing like where, oh, you guys are going down to the woods? Well, us parents will come with you.
Yeah. Let us do what we need to do in the woods. The way children do. Children
whatever
rule.
happens. You're not
It's like Lord of the Flies in there.
Well, here's the thing. It's not going to be. There's never been a book called Tom Sawyer and His Mom. That's not an adventure for a child. And that's when me and my mom got on a raft. She told me I was doing good. Jim, Westchester.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to say I felt like you were kind of busting on him a lot with his performance, but I thought the lyrics were hilarious.
Oh, no, they weren't. The lyrics were cheesy and stupid and perfect for a 13-year-old.
You know what
I mean? Like, they're perfect for him.
Yeah.
But you would not... Here's the problem. You wouldn't want to get on the Tonight Show with this act, and when you put this up, now 100,000 people have seen it and get to judge it. This should be done for his family, dancing around the living room. And this stuff where, like, it's my special day and I'm the king.
That was the cringiest part.
That's the part.
Like congratulating him on saying that he's going to be spoiled and treated like a king.
And remember,
not a great lesson,
this thing isn't like a fun thing. This is an invitation to come to his party. He's sending this to people. And like you used to want to act like, hey, the Hendersons are coming over. I want you to act like a gentleman today. You know what I mean? This is going to be your bar mitzvah. This is you turning into a man, right? Is what the religion believes. Is that a man right there? It's the exact opposite. And stop calling it a mitzvah. Why does this religion mean so little to you? You don't have the time to say bar?
Not enough time. I need to know if it's bar or bat. Please specify.
I thought Bat was the girls.
Yeah.
Oh, because of him?
No, that's
The boy is bar, girl is Bat.
Bat.
Here's Joe in Jersey. You're on the Run of Fez show.
How you doing, Ron?
Good.
So I work in education. I work with young kids, like 8-year-olds. And I have a big problem where basically it's in the culture of the administration that you're not allowed to tell them that they're bad at something. You're not allowed to judge them, put them in their place. So they come out of school with this overblown sense of self-worth and self-confidence that I really believe it does damage to them as they become adults. They don't realize why people are criticizing me. Why do I stink at this,
This is why I could never be a teacher, because my nickname would be Whiplash. Because I would be telling people this isn't good enough.
Well, I think we can agree you shouldn't say, like, you're bad at things, right? I mean,
Why?
like, maybe...
If you've had
But there's a way to approach things. Like, there's a way to do constructive criticism. Like, if you were in the workplace and you had somebody that you were working with and they kind of sucked at something and you were, like, trying to help them do something, the proper way to approach it would be to say, like, hey, this is what you need to work on and, like, whatever.
For the first 10 times. Well, then after a while, you're like this. Why aren't you picking this up? You stink.
I suppose, yeah.
This is the 10th time I've come to this with you.
Right.
You stink. I'm not going to let you feel good about yourself until the day you're fired. You know?
You can't fire kids from school.
I could. We're going to have to let you go from 3rd grade. You just don't belong here.
It's not working out.
But we do like this kid.
Yeah, of course.
We just think he needs to reel it in a little bit.
Yeah, and have this weird thing be private for your family and not share it with the world who...
You should say, look, to this kid, this would be worse than if you put out your special time videos for people when we don't bother you in the bedroom.
This is way more awkward.
I would say to him, I don't want everybody punching you and kneeing you in the side of the head.
This is a recipe for that.
Like when I went to school, I remember my mom said this to me all the time. Try to fit into the crowd. Just get in the middle of them. Get in the middle of them and run in the middle of that herd. And when the older boys grab someone, that's when you run. Let that person go down. Hang around the handicapped kids or somebody with a hair lip. And when the older boys are punching him, take off.
It's a good lesson.
You got to keep moving all the time.
Survival mode.
Yeah, you got to be able to survive.
But is this the new survival mode? I mean, is this the new... I don't know. It's like, maybe kids are like, how come you don't have a social media footprint?
That's the problem. This is why it's difficult to parent, because you don't know what's the right thing to do. You know? You don't know if you should say, yeah, I guess get your Instagram out there. It's the only way people are going to know you. I don't know, son. Life is moving too fast. You and your robot know what to do more than I do. Max, Richmond.
Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, buddy.
I got 4 kids in junior high and elementary school, and what I'm seeing is stuff like this kid. He uploads this thing, gets 120,000 views of saying, look at me, look at me, look at me, and then his whole town knows about it, and once one person says, that was a stupid video, you look like a fool, and he cries, I'm being bullied. Or more specifically, his mom says, stop bullying my baby, stop bullying my baby. They've changed the definition of bullying to the point where kids can't be kids. If you say anything that isn't totally supportive of everything somebody does, you're labeled as a bully. I mean, it's the moms. It's our generation labeling them.
I don't know why you're not allowed to say to somebody, dude, that's not cool. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what really changed is instead of teaching the lesson of how to deal with people criticizing you, people picking on you, the lesson became stopping people from doing it, which I'm not saying is 100% bad either. I mean, it's a huge scale here. Obviously, there's extreme cases of bullying where these kids have to be stopped. What they're doing is sick. This is like, and that's a lesson that needs to be learned. But then there's also something that's like, you don't want your kid to be thin-skinned either. You know.
But here's the other thing:
you want your kids to be strong.
If you keep telling every kid that they're special and every kid that he's creative, you have a generation of kids who run out and spend $250,000 on a college education that they signed for and then show up in New York or Los Angeles as if the world is ready to give them the money back and then give them the money to make a movie. When the fact of the matter is, it's horrible and tough to go to any of those places.
Yeah.
It's a long shot. It's
really
gambling.
Hard revelation.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, nobody is welcoming me on the other side to be like, you're a genius. Here you go, genius. Oh, look at all this art that you made while you were in college. You don't have to worry anymore.
Here's how hard it is. Look at American Idol and see how many people line up when you see all those cities. Even the person who wins probably isn't going to make any money out of it.
Yeah.
And yet you're going in debt year after year. How is that not bullying? How is lying to kids saying, oh, you're really great at everything when they're not bullying?
Well, that's because, I mean, certainly when I was a kid, the blue-collar jobs were sort of looked down upon. It's like you don't want a job like that. Where I think the generation before, it wasn't demonized in school. Like, there was this idea of a blue-collar job was a bad job to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that they didn't want, you have to go to college or else you'll have a blue-collar job. Like, that was said like it was a negative thing.
The last thing you want to be is a plumber, an electrician.
Or have a skill.
Or someone who works in construction and builds actual buildings and bridges.
Yeah.
I don't, and that's because the only people that we're showing our kids to is teachers who have master's degrees who have been in that world forever. And in the meantime, we have infrastructure in this country that is crumbling because no one has updated it in the last 50 years. But they can make a website for you. Mm-hmm. Oh, if you want me to edit a video, I can do that. But I can't stop that building from falling down into the river.
And part of the problem, I think, with that is if you're looking at the way a teacher approaches a class, and again, this is when I was a kid, it's like, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, if you're super smart, right? So it's like these kids who are naturally smart. They just take to learning very well because they learn in the way that a classroom works. That works for them. But the kids who don't, you're then encouraged to be creative because that's the next best thing. You know what I mean? If you don't have the natural smarts, if you don't have like a very sharp memory, which is most of what education.
Google.
Yeah.
What we want is kids with a Google in their brain.
Exactly. So I think like the next step is, okay, so what can you do creatively? Again, just as long as you're pushing them away from a blue collar job, I think that like creativity is like that second tier.
But here's the other part of this. When it comes to creativity, right? Would, let's say, Pollock have been Pollock, right? Mm-hmm. If everyone told him everything that he did was great? No. He was shunned. So he broke through and found a new way to paint. Kerouac couldn't get a book published for like the first, like he had written like 8 books or something before they put out On the Road. Most of the guys that you like were told over and over and over, you're not good enough, and they kept going. No one was sitting there telling Miles Davis, oh, thank God you're here. You know what I mean? This is so great. Look at Miles, is so good. You know, he went up against the thing and had to change it. There's a lot to be said for people who persevere, not just constantly get massaged. Here's Doug. Doug, you're on
Hey, what's
Bennington.
up, guys?
Yeah.
Hey.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm a school counselor in elementary school, and I agree with you that any kind of real hardcore bullying needs to be slammed and some real serious consequences. But 95% of what I deal with that people think is bullying is just age-appropriate teasing. It's socialization. It's lessons that need to be learned early because we're going to unleash them onto the world, and these kids are not prepared for what's out there. I always tell them that self-esteem is not being told how wonderful you are all the time. It's about trying and falling down and persevering and getting back up. And, we're just not preparing them. They're going to go out into the world and they're going to be really surprised.
Well, the physical kind of bullying that you're talking about, when we say, okay, there's actual laws that nobody can do that to another human being.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
we're covered in that. If somebody is bashing someone's head against a locker, then you call the police. It's not just fun. But if somebody is acting like, hey, you're wearing the weird pants, right? You got two things. A, either hear that, turn around or fit in, or B, be Tim Burton. You know what I mean? Just go, oh, you think that's weird? What do you say what I wear tomorrow? I'm coming in here like a Mad Hatter. That kid is cool. Not the kid that everybody loves and supports.
Right. And that kid gets to be cool. Like, he gets his chops by standing against something that is pushing against him. You know what I mean? Like, that's what creates... That's what allows a weird person to be cool. You know what I mean? When you're like, yeah, I totally know that what I'm doing. I'm well aware.
And look, let me just say this, because we brought up Bowie this morning and that horrible thing Joe List said.
I know.
Now,
Sorry that happens.
What do you think when I'm a kid, I see a guy like Bowie looking like that, sounding like that, growing up the way that I did, where, a gay person was deep in the closet. You know what I mean? I mean, if there were gay people, they weren't saying it. So then I got to sit there at 13, 14 years old and go, I guess gay is cool because Bowie is cool.
Right.
I mean, talk about a breakthrough. So I've never had that homophobic thing because I had gay heroes. I had black heroes. I had Jewish heroes. I wasn't just, no one had to say, love the Jews. They didn't need to say that to me because I had Woody Allen. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, I wish I was a New York Jew. Oh, look at P-Funk. I wish I was black.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was the thing. No one needed to tell me, hey, black people are cool. I know, George Clinton. Gotcha. But now we want to say, everybody does. There's no win. There's no loss. Stop it. Al in New York.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Good morning. I was just, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Bar Mitzvah Industrial Complex, but this kid may have just been pushed into it by his mom, who was like Kyle's mom on South Park. And
What you're saying is interesting because you've got to blow away everybody else. I know at the very least he was encouraged. I don't know if he was pushed into it, but he certainly was.
He certainly has a stage mom. I mean, you couldn't make a video of that.
I'm going to change this and say stage dad. Look how thrilled the dad is in this. Everybody but the brother is thrilled in this.
I know.
The brother looks like he wants to go Columbine.
He's in hell.
Mike, Connecticut. How are you, Mike? You're in Bennington.
Good, Ron. How are you?
Cool.
I just wanted to call in and just, I feel like you guys are leaving the parents out of the equation. I had this similar situation happen with my son last year where one of his YouTube videos went viral, and it was a wacky experience and a strange experience, but I think as parents, we did the right thing and stepped in and kind of kept things under control and kept them grounded.
What did your kid do that he went viral?
He had just posted a video on YouTube, which I knew he was doing. I wasn't even really paying attention to it because I knew nobody was watching, and Reddit picked it up. And it was just, he had posted a video. He had gotten one like on one of his videos, and he did a video about how excited he was. And that just, Reddit picked it up and it went viral. And by the end of the day, he was on Comedy Central with Chris Hardwick.
Oh my God. See, that's the weird thing. If Reddit gets behind something.
I feel like I kind of remember this kid. It's ringing a bell to me.
A kid who just got a like was, what was the name of the video? Because we want to go check it out.
If you search Sir Fedora, that's his YouTube name.
Yeah,
all right, we've already found him. And how many hits on that?
On that video?
Yeah.
3 million?
All right, about 3 million. Now, so when this thing started taking off like this, what did you do to kind of chill him and chill the situation?
Just pulled him offline immediately. I mean, scared the shit out of me.
Because there's a lot of cruel, weird people out there.
It was, we've met a ton of great people. It's been an amazing experience, but there are just some terrible, nasty people out there. And like when you were talking about, the kids not getting any, negative reinforcement or any bullying or things like that. I mean, him and I will sit down and we'll read through his comments together or his tweets together. And I mean, there's just some folks out there that say some terrible, terrible things to a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, and I mean, it used to be this was what they aimed at celebrity, but now it's aimed at everybody. But we're not even set up for this in school. We're told, these things don't exist, but they exist in spades. For sometimes I'll just go around and read comments on even the New York Post, and people say horrible things about victims. It's just insane.
It's crazy.
It is insane.
All right, we're going to put your kids' video on and see if it should have been that monster viral.
Oh, no more. I've had enough. But I
didn't see either. Oh, wait, I did. Hey, YouTube, what is up? It's Jackson here, and today I'd like to tell you we did it. We hit the 1 like. And I know that you guys are going to be like, dude, it's just 1 like, but it's still awesome that I know that you guys are there. Even though you're not there, you're there. I just still think this is pretty awesome. That you guys are actually sticking with it. So actually, I've made a little thing on iMovie that is coming out today or tomorrow, either one, and it's gonna be awesome. And I hope you guys love it. But I know I could just merge it with this video, but I'm like, nah, I'm too lazy. But I should be having a few things coming out, like a few reviews. Yeah, a few reviews. I'm just looking around, making sure they're all still here. Yeah, I can't believe we have a like. So I'm going to ask something big. Can we hit the 3 to 5 likes? Something just swipe that up. But whatever, we're back. And the fact that I hit 5 likes, I have 1 like on my video. I know it's not much, but the fact that 1 person actually took the time to like the video, it doesn't even matter. I'm feeling awesome right now.
All right, Mike. So when this is obviously something you didn't think was going to be a big deal, and then 3 million people end up seeing it. Oh, he's gone.
Completely insane. Like I said, I didn't care he was putting YouTube videos up because nobody was watching it.
Just him and his buddies, yeah.
Him and his buddies. Most of his buddies are just filming their own things. They're not even paying attention to what their friends are doing. They're just posting. Nobody's looking or watching. So this was, it was a wild run.
And how long did you think it stayed crazy before it settled down again?
Well, we're in the car right now heading up to Boston to some nerd convention or something. He's dragged me kicking and screaming into this entire culture, and I mean it's just you can't look at the YouTube kids as celebrities or as entertainers. They're just kids being kids, and it just picks up this crazy traction.
See, that's the thing about that mitzvah thing. None of us should have seen it. This should have been seen by his family alone.
Right.
Absolutely.
But we're sitting around, we're judging him against Manny on Modern Family. It's just not fair. That kid has writers.
I hadn't even watched my son's video before it went viral. And, there's a hole in the roof, in his ceiling, in his room. You think I wanted that, publicly, across the internet? It's been fixed, by the way. I just want to...
All right, thanks, dude.
Let everybody know that. Okay. Thank you.
Peace. Enjoy your nerd convention. I'm going to take one before we go into break here because this is also up on the iBank today. Brian in Cherry Hill.
All right, Mr. B, I'm calling about the same exact thing. 2 days ago, my buddy uploaded a video to YouTube of his 15-month-old baby girl cracking an egg and stirring it to make brownies. Did you see this shit?
No, we have it up on the Interrobang, or did it go up already yet? Is it supposed to? We were putting it up under Toddler is ready for Top Chef. Did not go up yet? All right. We'll have that up by the time we get... We're going to take a break. We'll come back and pick that up. It's Bennington.
You're listening to Bennington. It's gone to break. Don't worry, it's coming back. Opie Radio, XM 103, Sirius 206.
Gail. Mm-hmm. There's something I want to talk to you about.
What's up?
Do you know that boxing has been on NBC primetime in 30 years? You've lived in a world that you've never seen primetime boxing on network television.
Never in my life.
That changes. Now it's back tomorrow night. And don't ask me how I've done it, ladies and gentlemen. I've done it. I brought boxing back tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern. 5:30 if you live out on the coast, Pacific time. Live from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the world's best fighters return to NBC. I was able to talk to 147-pound champion, Keith one-time Thurman. And I said, Keith, would you be willing to go up against veteran slugger, Robert the Ghost Guerrero?
What do you say?
He said yes, Gail. He's going to do it. On NBC prime time. Now, I know that you're like, oh, that's plenty. No. I also got three-time world champion Adrian the Problem Broner going up against John the Gladiator Molina Jr. Not John the Gladiator Molina Sr. That's his dad. This is John the Gladiator Molina Jr., or Baby Gladiator, as we used to call him. This is the start of a whole new era in boxing. I'd like to call it the Ron Bennington era of boxing, but I can't. It's hosted by Al Michaels, in my opinion, the best fight commentator out there, featuring Marv Alpert, the best, Sugar Ray Leonard, the greatest fighter I ever saw in my lifetime. Wait, you heard that. Sugar Ray Leonard, the best of all time. And Lalia Ali, Muhammad Ali's baby girl. Watch it live on NBC tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Don't miss it. Premier Boxing Champions, where the next legends collide.
This is Bennington, Opie Radio, XM 103, Sirius 206.
Here's a little song about boots and a darling named Nancy. You keep saying you got something for me, something you call love, but confess you've been a messin' where you shouldn't have been a messin'. That's right. Someone else is getting all your best. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. This is the part of the song where Billy Strange raised his hand and asked if he could leave the room. You keep lying when you ought to be truthful, and you keep losing when you ought to not bet, and you keep saying when you ought to be changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. Listen to me. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots gonna walk all over you. Get it. And this is the part of the record where everybody said, why, that can't be number one. You keep playing where you shouldn't be playing. And you keep thinking that you'll never get burned. Well, I just found me a brand new box of matches. And what she knows you ain't had time to learn. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. You put on your boots and I'll put on mine, and we'll sell 1,000,000 records any.
Start walking.
Cocky Lee Hazelwood and the unbelievable Nancy Sinatra, our house band today.
That was an incredible track. I had never heard the two of them doing it together.
Shelbo found that.
Way to go.
He found that on his little phone and brought it into us.
That was awesome.
It's Bennington, hashtag Bennington up on the Twitter, 866-766-0339. We've been talking about weird kids uploading videos, and that last one about the guy taking his kid to the nerd convention because Reddit made him into a quick celebrity. There's something cool about that as well,
Sure, yeah, definitely.
I always thought the only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool.
When you're uncool.
Yeah. Kids on drugs. Here's Blaine. Blaine, you're on Bennington.
Hey, how's it going, bud?
Hey, man.
I just wanted to touch on what you were talking about earlier about kids not being, told anything negative in school. Like, I remember when I was in 3rd grade, some kid in my class, he told me my painting of flowers sucked in our class, and, well, basically I punched him in the side of the head, and he punched me in the side of the head, and we got sent to the principal's office and sent home, and then my dad kicked me in the ass when I got home, and I learned not to punch people in the side of the head.
Yeah, that's how you end up learning it, You make your mistakes.
Sure.
One day you'll be cool.
One day you'll be cool.
Just look under your bed.
Light a candle while you listen to Tommy. We're going to run out of them because we're doing so many of this.
Well, we waited so long today. Why not just jump into it as much as we could?
You'll see your future.
By the way, I never loved Zoe as much as in that movie.
Never as much and never again, maybe for me.
I could almost say that about everybody in the movie.
Actually, 100%. I could say that about everyone in that movie.
You have to be careful because now that you're here, you never know when any of those folks are going to get in. And you have to say to them, I like all your stuff.
I like everything that you do.
Even long past you peaked.
All the stuff that is good and all the stuff that's bad I like, too. All of it.
I like everything, especially the stink.
I like people who are nice, and then I'll say, oh.
Now we're best friends.
I like everything you do now that you're nice to me.
Will Forte was nice to Fez earlier this week, and now Fez just brings him up every day and acts like maybe there's something between them. All right, the guy called in and said that his neighbor just went viral. This is the toddler. We have it up on the iBang as toddler ready for Top Chef, but you're going to enjoy this. It's over on the Interrobang. Toddler ready for Top Chef. Gail, check this out. So there's the baby, ready to, can't lift up the eggs.
Give her an egg.
Give her an egg?
Yes.
They're letting the baby cook.
All right.
And she cracks an
Put
egg.
it in.
Like just how Daddy
Put it
said.
in. Yeah.
And puts it perfectly into the bowl.
Wow.
She didn't get a crack in there.
Look, and now it's stirring it up.
Best chocolate
Making cookies for Daddy. Now, they edit out the part, like in another 5 minutes when you watch the long thing, she puts her tongue on the oven rack. So that part was sad.
She wasn't ready for that part of. She's a sous chef.
She is a sous chef. Now, there's something else up on the iBang I'm going to get to in a minute, but first I'm going to tell you a story, a true story. And I don't know whether I ever told you this about myself. When I was about 4 years old, I'm out playing in the yard. As a matter of fact, in my front yard with the kids in my neighborhood. And we were chasing each other around. We were having fun, pushing each other down and tackling each other and being like kids. And I remember we had these like kind of bushes that my dad had planted out front. So I was crawling in underneath the bushes. Now, what I'm telling you is an absolute true story. As I'm crawling under the bushes, I stop and I'm frozen in time as I come face to face with another being, a being not of this world, a being that I locked eyes with, a being that was about 10 inches tall. And as I'm looking at it, I see an expression on its alien face. I see understanding in its eyes, and it turned its head to one side, trying to figure me out. And at 4 years old, I just started to kind of crawl backwards on my hands and knees, never taking eyes off of it, but getting to a slow and steady escape. Up on the iBank today, there are pictures of this under acrobatics. This is the alien being. Some people have given it a name and call it a praying mantis. But the look of this thing, to this day, go ahead and hit it. The look of this strange alien being, and watch as it flies or jumps, but does its weird. This is not of this world. Have you ever seen a praying mantis up front, close before?
I don't think I have.
Now, here's the weird thing about this story. Not only did I never brought that up to my parents. I never said, what is that?
Right.
I just figured I'd slipped through one reality and into another, and I tried to not think about it anymore.
It looks like an alien life form.
A praying mantis is somewhat rare. I mean, if people, you don't normally see them.
I feel like I've never seen one in person.
But
because they're massive. I mean, for a bug, they're massive.
Well, yeah, they're like traveling sticks. But I can tell you now, I remember seeing intelligence in that eyes and figuring out when I was 4 years old that this is wonder and danger and get out of here. But why I thought I'm not going to bring that up. Maybe I thought no one believed me, but it was just a bug.
There's a lot of things I think that kids experience that they don't go to their parents with it, and then you just end up thinking something totally strange. You're like,
yes,
I have this figured out, and I don't need to talk to anyone about it. I know what's going on here.
But I remember later, as the praying mantis, as they had... if you look at the eyes of that thing, you can see.
It does look intelligent. It's somehow
it looks like a Spielberg alien.
And even with the simplicity of like it, that looks like it has emotion there. Like he's looking out with wonder. Like, why does it have an expression? It's a bug that is capable of.
And why isn't it on TV all the time of, ladies and gentlemen, there are other aliens living on this planet. We call them praying mantis. They just bomb Buenos Aires. It's a bug planet.
Goddamn bugs got us, Johnny.
That's a really good impression.
Thanks. Of the redhead who showed her boobs in the shower.
It's, what was it? Oh, Johnny, it's home.
It's home, Johnny.
But I just quit. I'm trying to think of her name from that movie. It's driving me nuts. It's
Which
Cess.
one?
With the redheaded girl's name. Buzz or Bits or something like that.
No, it's like, I want to say
Dutch.
like Dozer, but that's something
No, it's
else.
a one word.
Yeah.
It's a one word thing. It's beach. It's
Starship Troopers is the movie. If you pull up IMDb.
Of course, Starship. But
That's
anyway,
going to drive me nuts. What was her name?
we're going to find out in seconds. A-Train's all over it.
Dizzy?
Dizzy. Diz.
I knew it was.
Then he called it
I said
Diz.
Dozer, but Dizzy was correct.
You were thinking, you got her confused with Gozer.
There is no Dana, only Zool.
Ugh. But anyway, go look at that thing of how weird a praying mantis is. There's got to be a part of the country there's a lot of them. By the way, they're hard to spot in the woods or anything like that because they just fix it. They fit in perfectly, which is another weird thing of evolution. Like if you hang around anything enough, you'll start to look like it. So predators won't get to you.
So bizarre.
That's why Chris Stanley, his head looks like a beer keg and his nose looks like a tap so that he can fit in his natural environment in a bar. You know, he's up for big, big things here. It's Corporate Chris right now.
I've been hearing some rumors.
They haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but we're all excited for him. Al in Maryland knows about the praying mantis.
Hey, good morning, folks. Loving the new show. And I live in a rural part of Maryland. We have a lot of praying mantises. I can usually just go out to one of my bushes and pick one up and let it walk all over. That's kind of cool. When my daughter was little, we were showing them to her. Of course, she thought, scary, but most of them are pretty friendly. So she decided, I showed her with a little nest. It looks like a little toasted marshmallow. And I said, yeah, that's a nest, and soon that'll be baby, praying mantises. Well, I didn't know. Later, she took the nest, brought it into her room, thought she'd watch the nest and up close and personal in her room. We wake up the next morning, they hatch, and there's hundreds of praying mantises all over her room.
God.
It's a bug planet.
That's a nightmare.
It was in her room. Hey, peace.
Peace. And when you see what they can do in that video, the way they move and kind of manipulate space, it's phenomenal. Like, there are so many creatures on this planet that we could easily call monsters, but we don't, just because we know what they are. Like, if we found monsters, as soon as we named it, we'd stop calling it a monster.
Sure. I mean, the amount of things that look like some sort of fantasy that are just in the ocean at any moment.
The
Like,
ocean.
Sometimes if you just think that world is existing right now, that freaks me out.
Not only does it exist now, it's always existed long before there were even mammals.
It's terrifying to think of. I don't know. Something about the ocean really scares me. Like vast, deep ocean. Like
There is A-Train just put up a picture of a...
is that an angler?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an angler is basically is the scariest. It's like something that just exists for teeth. It's Pac-Man.
Yeah.
It's like if Pac-Man really existed, but in the water, and it's just chomping wherever it goes.
And doesn't that just look like something you would cook up in like a nightmare as a child?
Sure.
Like that looks like.
Like when people sit around and just draw weird things, like
Yeah.
animals that don't exist. Animals that don't exist are no weirder than animals that do
Like
exist.
that could be a Shel Silverstein drawing of like.
When he was tripping.
Yeah.
When Uncle Shell was tripping. I was just given this beautiful handwritten note. Look at that right there.
That's very nice writing.
He's got the best writing ever. It used to be that Fez had the best handwriting on the show.
In the biz?
In the biz itself. He's been replaced by Shelbo. There will be another Bennington next week.
Whoa, that's big news.
Yeah, that's big, big news,
That's
folks.
exciting. 3 in a row. The old hat trick.
Yeah, pulled it off.
It'll
AJ
be the Nancy and Lee 3.
No, there will be no Nancy and Lee. I think I will pick out a classic rock band for us next week.
I can't wait to find out.
I think people know who I'm picking out. JC.
When you guys were playing the mitzvah video, I just took a break and actually watched the video. You guys said that the parents put him out there naked, and I thought you were being figurative, but during blurred lines, he's literally naked.
The boy is naked.
I mean, and he looks just like Uncle Fester, so you're spot on there, but it's very slippery slope. I mean, even if the friends and family see that, they're going to roll their eyes, but at least they know the family. They know the personality.
Gail made the point that what if this was a little girl and the people would be like
People would be
outraged.
totally freaked out.
Yeah, like
And yes, he does look like Uncle Fester, but I think he has Grandpa Munster's face. Like Uncle Fester's body and head, but Grandpa Munster's face.
I just like to shave the kid down, and I think I'll just leave it at Fester. I feel good about that. The great, was it Jackie Coogan? Is that who Uncle Fester was, Jackie Coogan? You know, Uncle Fester was a kid actor in silent films.
Yeah, I knew that. That's pretty weird. Sorry. You don't have a cough button. Remember that?
The old cough button? Well, this is satellite. You're supposed to cough directly into it. Some velvet morning when I'm straight. Okay, I'm picking up on that.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
The face of...
you know what? I don't want to say, but it's the nose. He's got his nose. He's got Grandpa Munster's nose.
R.I.P.
Have you ever met Grandpa Munster?
I did.
He was one of the coolest guys ever. Really, really street New York guy.
Yeah, he was great.
Loved basketball. Loved basketball. We'll talk about it with anybody, anytime. But we lived in the same neighborhood as him once, and he used to dress up at Halloween, but he wouldn't dress up as Grandpa Munster. He would try to think of something else. Like one time, he was just like this weird cowboy, and we're like, "I know that you're thinking you're having Halloween fun, but let's give that another thought. You're Grandpa Munster. You could just
go
dress
with
like
that.
him."
I wish he'd dress like that every day.
Yeah.
That would be cool. But yeah, he was an awesome character to have around the neighborhood.
Janine in North Carolina.
Hi there.
Hey, what's up?
So you have to check out a very terrifying video of a praying mantis thumb wrestling. It's pretty nightmarish.
I'm already scared of this.
Yeah, you should be. It's pretty horrific.
I almost thought when I was a little kid that praying mantis was going to say something to me.
The face looks intelligent.
But I thought it was going to say, "Here's why you're here, Ron. Here's your special purpose.
Come with me.
Come with me. We have to win back the kingdom."
You're needed on our
Oh,
planet.
God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus.
That's really giving me the creeps. The way his body moves is so bizarre. Oh, my God.
This is why...
This is...
A robot praying mantis is going to be the scariest thing ever. When they start figuring out how to robot it. Ma'am, you calling like that just made me have the worst day ever. Margie, Louisiana.
Hi, how are you?
Cool in the gang, darling. Cool in the gang.
Well, good. We have a lot of praying mantises down here, and I did want to tell you, you do know they spit, right? They have a venom.
They spit?
Oh, my God.
Yes, they spit. Like spit. That's how they kill their prey, or they paralyze their
I
prey.
felt that, but I thought it was jizz. That's why I didn't tell anybody.
No, it's not.
That's
But
why I didn't want to tell anyone.
I also wanted to tell you about the stick insect. Have you ever seen one of those? It
What
freaks
is it?
my children out. It's called a stick.
The walking-
STICK. Yeah, the walking stick.
Yeah,
It
I've
looks
seen
just
that.
like a
I've
stick.
seen.
A walking stick is just a stick that you walk around town with.
Oh no! Look it up, and it's a bizarre-looking insect, and you can't tell if it's coming or going. And when my children would see it, it would freak them out because they couldn't tell which way they were going.
Where do you live? In like Bug Tussle, Louisiana? I mean, how far in the swamps are you?
Oh no, I'm in northern Louisiana, not southern Louisiana.
Okay, so you're up closer, like Mississippi.
Yes,
All right. How far are you from, where Elvis was born?
where Elvis is born. I am about 400 miles from where Elvis was born in Tupelo.
Yeah. Well, if you were closer, I'd have you go over and get me a pen. All right. Thank you so much, Margie. Oh,
yeah,
God.
the walking stick I've seen. Very creepy.
I never
Huge.
saw it in real life, though, did you?
Yeah.
This keeps me from wanting to go to any jungle area. And now I itch like there's a walking stick down my shirt.
I get that if I see a bug, I'm itching for the rest of the day.
No, you made me itch because if someone starts talking about bugs in hair,
Like, what if one is in your shoe right now?
I'm cutting off my foot. I would cut off any part of my body that a bug touched. Ugh. You know, there was always this thing. Remember, like the beehive haircut? There'd always be some lie that a bug went in there and hatched.
Girl's
And
got roaches in her hair.
That's good.
There's no bugs on my baby. My little girl is a clean teen.
Now, do you like that or the musical version that got done with
Ew,
John
not
Travolta?
the musical. I didn't even see it. I
Yeah.
refuse. Because you know why? I saw Travolta in the makeup, and I was like, I can't do it. I can't. Because you know I love Divine. But, no, I didn't even see that version.
All right, you know, that haircut, the beehive, looks like the Long Island medium today. Have you ever seen her hair?
Yeah.
Here's what I believe about her.
Carney of all carnies.
You know, she's the carny without any goddamn regard for anything. Like, she immediately came in and told Fez that his dad was trying to talk to him, you know?
Oh, you had her
Yeah,
in?
she came in once. Well, she's like, running Fez, I used to... So she came in. But here's my belief. Underneath that beehive, she's got like an earpiece in that she's working with someone. I think that's why she keeps her hair like that. And she'll be like, the guy over here calls himself A-Train. He recently lost a grandmother. Make him start crying, bringing it up. She made him brownies. She would have... This is like what she does, though. All right. I think it could be your grandmother. She used to love to make you food, and she didn't say that you ate enough. She was like, eat more food.
Yeah, my grandmother's Italian. She's always telling
I'm hearing manja or Italian food or pasta.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But then she also would like to have something sweet for you. Sweet.
She loved to make cookies.
And she used to love to hug you and
She
kiss.
did.
And she's hugging you now.
This is crazy. This is so weird.
She's
Yes.
hugging you now, and she's saying something about a shoe or a sneaker or a pant of some kind or a vest.
Yeah, vest.
Yes. She had a vest for you.
I have her old vest.
Yes, she did. She says, take care of that vest. She wants you to take care of it. But then she's also unhappy you're dating someone she doesn't care for.
Well, I just broke up with someone.
Yes, she's saying good.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This is so dead on. And it's terrible because these people are grieving.
Well, they're trying to help too. Is there a B? I'm seeing a B or an R or a vowel of some kind.
You mean an S?
Yes, an S. So it's like Sammy or Sid or Samsid? Is it Samsid? What is it? Steve.
Yeah.
Steven says me because up there everything's formal. Hold on, I'm getting a little message under my fake hair. She wanted for you to give me $30 or $40.
You know, I don't even know why she did a show because it's the same thing. I've seen the show. It's the same gimmick over and over. And one of the questions she always asked, and this is somebody who has just lost their mother,
Right.
they just lost their father, and they're like, do you have something of hers? Well, you know that
Right.
anybody who loses a parent, you're going to have some stuff of theirs. Oh, something that's really precious, something that was hers that she wanted you to have. Yes. And she does it every episode,
Yeah.
and they'll give it to you. Like, they'll hand it to her.
Right.
They'll just take her all the way there.
But yeah, because you want to help solve problems. You want to do it.
Of course.
We're wrapping this one up today, but let's go over everything one by one. We want you to watch a television show that we find to be fascinating. It's called Jinx.
The Jinx.
True crime show. Also go to the iBang and see the toddler, the praying mantis, and the Jewish bar mitzvah kid acting like a lunatic. What other topics did we get to today? I'm sure you want people to pick up the Nancy and Sinatra.
Yes.
Lee Hazelwood.
Nancy and Lee again, and Nancy and Lee 3 for whoever's going deep with them, real deep.
And anything else that we brought up today, I can't remember.
Check out the bar
Coming up
mitzvah
a little
video.
later on the Ron and Fez show.
You have another show?
Yeah, I do another show.
Oh.
Well, Fez carries it. I just come in. I just stop by and just throw in a couple things from time to time. I'm like, that's funny, Bert. All right, Bandit. But we will be here next week with Bennington. And, you know who I've got coming up a little later on today? Supposedly from the B-52s, the very lovely Kate Pearson. And if you think you don't love the B-52s, you haven't heard them lately.
They're great.
Because I dare you go to any wedding now, they play Rock Lobster. Rock Lobster shows up at weddings.
And she rocked a beehive for a long time.
And very, very colorful.
Yeah.
Very, very colorful.
I love the B-52s. She's great.
She's great. This is her first solo album, and I'm not going to say it to her or on the air, but this is how old she is.
What?
And she looks fantastic.
You are shitting me.
No, I'm not kidding at all. Not kidding at all.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah, she's out of this world. All right, so that is just about up for us. I was just going to say, do you have anything to plug? But you don't.
I don't. Just this next
week. Yeah, you don't. You don't have things to plug though.
No, just this is my one gig.
Yeah, that's the thing in life that people should be just like plugging. And then you'll also be able to see me at
check out my podcast,
read me at my podcast and my blogcast. Doing a vlogcast right now.
My vlog, my blog, my podcast, my
schmodcast,
my Twitter, my Instagram, my Vine.
But up on the iBank, to me, I think if I only could promote one thing to go see, it's the little bar mitzvah kid who we have decided is the greatest entertainer of our generation.
We've turned completely.
We think of him as
he's the future.
He's
the truth, the light, the way.
If Prince and Liberace had a baby, well, it'd be stillborn. But if it was then brought back to life, it would be this lovely, lovely kid. E-Rock, plug your gig.
I'm on at 7 p.m. now on Fridays for 2 hours. They expanded the show.
Whoa.
I have Zachary Quinto and Jason Isaacs on the show.
That's a big show.
Very cool.
And then Sam is doing a short show today. It's wrestlers who died naturally. So it'll just be a 4 or 5 minute show at best. But Sam always does a great show in here every Friday. That is it for us, kids. Thank you so much. Coming up next is, I want to say activated, but
accelerated.
Accelerated. Well, you hear all the shows being funny, one into another. It's the future of radio. That's it for us, guys. See you next time. Peace.
You've been listening to Bennington, only on Opie Radio, XM 103, Sirius 206. You can listen to it again by going to Sirius XM On Demand.